Yo, what's happening, y'all?
Happy trade deadline.
Yeah.
Probably the
eventful
biggest,
day, man.
probably the biggest Tuesday as far as Tuesdays go in the NFL season.
I'm not gonna lie, it kind of snuck up on me.
Yeah,
But I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised. I love to see movement like this in the NFL and not just in my fantasy leagues. But I mean,
Right.
it did sneak up on me. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. Well, it was an exciting day, and it happened. I mean, the moves kind of started coming in on the relatively early side, and things kind of slowly continued to happen up pretty much until the deadline, from the Hawkinson trade to the Nyheim Hines trade, to kind of cap things off. So figured it was a good opportunity to talk about the fallout from all of the moves as it pertains to fantasy, and then as everybody knows, whatever questions may come up in the chat. But why don't we talk through some of these transactions?
Yeah, man. The first piece of news to drop was the TJ Hawkinson trade, and you got a short out pretty much within 5-10 minutes of the
maybe 10
the
minutes.
news dropping. And honestly, I still think that's the biggest news of the day. The Lions, who should be looking towards the future, and I guess are, trade away a still young stud tight end in TJ Hawkinson.
25 years old.
Yeah, a former first-round pick. It's like, all right, they groomed him,
top 10.
got him ready to really be a top 6 tight end in the league, and then ship him off to arguably a better situation.
And a division rival.
Also weird.
Kind of a strange trade. I actually didn't see the compensation now that I think about it. I don't actually know what
I think
the
it was
Lions-
for a second-round pick and a third-round pick, and they gave up TJ Hawkinson and a fourth-round pick. So I think it wasn't just a clear-cut TJ Hawkinson for this.
Sure.
There were extra picks involved there. So
Feels like a bad move for Detroit.
it is a bad move for Detroit. I don't see it. The only thing that I can really point to is they want to run 3-4 wide at wide receiver.
Well, yeah,
and are expecting Williams to come back very soon.
Sure. So maybe this is a vote of confidence for Jamison Williams, as far as just maybe not just this year, but their long view and long-term outlook for him. This frees amon-ra St. Brown up and DeAndre Swift up, as far as I'm concerned. Jamal Williams, also his name kind of late in the game surfaced in NFL in trade rumors. Obviously nothing happened, nothing materialized, so he will be in Detroit for the rest of the season. Also a viable pass catcher out of the backfield. So, those 46 targets that Hawkinson had through the first 8 weeks, or I should say 7 weeks, the Lions did have their bye week in there. That's about, if my math is correct, about 6 targets a game or so that need to be redistributed. So Swift, amon-ra probably pick up on average the bulk of that, and then it trickles down elsewhere. And then of course you have Brock Wright, 23-year-old undrafted free agent last year out of Notre Dame, steps into what you figure to be a more prominent role. Suddenly a little bit more interesting for dynasty purposes. Not quite yet on redraft radars, but a name to keep an eye on.
He is the same caliber of athlete, has an RAS of 9.21. He is the same caliber of athlete. I'm not saying he's the same blocker. He's the same kind of pass catcher, because that's where it differs between him and TJ Hawkinson. But as far as the athletic upside that they bring to the table, they are very similar. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yup. Not much of from a statistical perspective, not much to go off of for him. I think he so far through a season and a half averages about a catch per game, and of course some of that is weighted from maybe a little extra work that he got when TJ Hawkinson missed a lot of last season due to injury, including getting shut down. I think what week was that, 12, 13, something like that. So not a ton to go off of. Deep dynasty leagues where he was maybe stashed on a taxi squad, suddenly it's like, ooh, that's a nice little thing that just developed. But beyond that, not much to talk about
on
there.
the flip side, Irv Smith,
Minnesota.
he's a tight end too in his own offense now, and at the age of 24, no less. So bad luck for him, coming off a meniscus tear, supposed to be a resurgent year for him, and he gets injured, and it looks like he's out at least 8 to 10 weeks. And at that point, they were just like, hey, we're 6-1. Let's go get us another tight end and just keep it moving.
Right.
But I mean, it's all but pretty much it's hard to say a 24-year-old tight end who has barely seen the field is already starting to get written off. But I feel like that we have to write him off now.
He could be a trade candidate when he gets healthy next year, but his Vikings opportunity is done. Maybe 2026 or 2027 is Irv Smith's year.
I mean, the good thing is he is still very young. Will be 25 next season, but
sure.
I mean, 25 is when you want to pretty much have seen a tight end at least finish in the top 10, and he has yet to do that.
Yeah. So maybe he gets an opportunity somewhere else. Obviously, this is Hawkinson's opportunity now moving forward.
Upgrade for him.
Yeah. I noted on the short that I did that. So again, 46 targets in 7 games with Detroit. Irv Smith had 33 targets to lead Vikings tight ends through also 7 games. The Vikings are also past their bye week as well. Obviously, a talent discrepancy, a difference between Hawk and Irv Smith, Hawk being the better player.
And no DeAndre Swift for much of the year. No TJ Hawkinson for some of the games. So, I mean, you do have to factor that in with respect to Hawkinson's workload this year.
Sure. So maybe it's a similar workload that he's stepping into in Minnesota. Maybe a better quarterback, but also significantly better top to bottom wide receivers.
Just offense.
Justin Jefferson is no disrespect to Amon-Ra, Jefferson is a superior wide receiver 1.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Thielen is a superior wide receiver 2 to whoever any given week the Lions wide receiver 2 is. So it's a good situation, but I'm not sure much changes for Hawkinson. I think he's just still a tight end 1, hovers between, say, tight end 5 and tight end 10 any given week, something like that. I originally speculated maybe a little bit more volatility for his situation in Minnesota just because of those players, but the Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, but the better offense, maybe there's more scoring opportunities. Maybe that becomes a little bit more stable for him. So that's the fallout from that trade. And probably,
he might, honestly, when you look at what he's done this year, be more consistent. It might not be really volatile. If you ask me, he was volatile on the Lions.
Yeah.
7 points, 5 points, 10 points, 40 points, 1.6 points, 8 points, 12 points. That's volatility. Now, that is the tight end position, volatile. But I think he has a little bit more consistency to his game. But I don't know if he has 40-point weeks in an offense with Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen, to your point.
Right. So we'll see about that. Obviously, you're still firing up all 3 of those guys. Stock is unchanged as far as I'm concerned for Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. They are regulars in your lineup, most likely with Thielen, obviously with Jefferson. Cousins gets a nice boost, I would say. Kirk Cousins does.
Yep.
Jared Goff maybe takes a bit of a hit. DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown stock up. Brock Wright, by nature of the beast, stock up, but as a dynasty taxi squad stash, not as, at least right now.
Not a redraft option.
No. So that's the fallout from the Hawkinson trade. And we see everybody's questions coming in the chat. We will get to everybody, but want to make sure we highlight a busy day in the NFL and just key in on these transactions.
Yep. And hopefully we're answering some of your questions. I know, Tim Shields, you're asking about Claypool leaving and how that helps Deontay.
Yep,
that's the next move.
Yep.
Claypool to the Bears for a second-round pick.
Yeah. I actually think this was a good move for the Bears.
I tend to think it's mismanagement, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, so yes, the natural thought process here is the Bears aren't contending this year, right? They traded in 2 consecutive weeks Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith off of the defense. They're accumulating picks, and then they go and make this trade for a 24-year-old wide receiver who's kind of been tabbed as a bonehead. Maybe needs to mature a little bit in Chase Claypool. But this is why I think it makes sense from the Bears, other than the obvious perspective of they have no wide receivers outside of Darnell Mooney, and they needed a warm body. That's like what that's what they needed, a warm body. They get that in Claypool. They spend second-round capital, probably on the same position that they might have drafted in the draft anyway. Claypool is still young. Like I said, I think he's 24 years old.
Yep.
He is team controlled for multiple years still. I think at least 2 more seasons.
This season and next season. In 2024, he's a free agent.
Okay.
At 26 years old.
And that's plenty of time to evaluate the situation and what they have in Claypool and if they want to lock him up for another 3 or 4 years or so. The other thing here, I think, is I just lost my train of thought. It's team control for multiple years. I remember. He has a double-digit touchdown season already under his belt and to his credit. So you can't take away from him that he's a proven commodity. And, not any second-round pick could easily not be able to duplicate those numbers or come close to it.
Hell, a first-round pick, same deal.
Sure, we're in agreement. I think that Claypool is a really good athlete, an upper echelon athlete. His athletic profile is very strong. I think what hurts him right now is, again, he's immature. He's a 24-year-old kid. Probably needs to grow up a little bit. We saw. Have we seen any last year?
But have we seen any maturity issues this season from him? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I'm kind of willing to say, hey, that was 2022. This is a new season. Everything we've seen this season leads me to believe that you've turned over a new leaf from that perspective. Where I have a little bit of issue is, like, yes, he's still young. Yes, he has back-to-back 800-yard seasons. Yes, he has one season where he had 11 total touchdowns in, I believe, 14 games.
Yeah.
But a second-round pick is really good capital for a wide receiver who isn't an 1,000-yard wide receiver at this point in his career. And if you're looking at it from their perspective, and really trying to evaluate this guy, like, we've already seen jumps from Justin Fields. But a jump from Justin Fields was going from 17 attempted passes to 23-24 attempted passes a game, still rushing for around 8 to 12 rushes on the ground. And that equals up to fantasy value for Justin Fields. But I just don't think there's enough passes to go around in this offense for Claypool, for them to really see anything from Claypool. Even last year, and I looked this up, they were averaging 3 more passes thrown a game than they are this season. Justin Fields averaged 3 more passes thrown a game, not a huge number, than this year than last year, or last year than this year.
Yeah, they're running more this year.
Running more, passing less. And last year, they were really only able to sustain one fantasy relevant option, and that was mostly through inefficient volume. Now, yes, they brought in Claypool. Yes, Justin Fields is somewhat ascending, looking better pretty much every week. Maybe not with his arm, but with his legs and the whole package.
Just in general, yeah.
Yep. I feel like in a year and a half from now, when Claypool is up for contract extension, I don't know if this is the team to really maximize what he does within a year and a half span to really see it. Plus, I think as soon as next year's draft, they go out and get a Keyshawn Butte, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jordan Addison, one of those guys. So it's like you're getting a half-year rental on a wide receiver when you're 3-5, I believe. Really have no hope for contention, and everything is setting yourself up for next season. This is a better setup for next season, but Chase Claypool ain't a number one.
No.
Now they have 2 number 2s on their team. They're going to hopefully draft a number 1, which again puts Claypool in almost the same position he was in this season in Seattle or in Pittsburgh. And then, like, where are we? We're playing the same. How does Chase Claypool fit in? Will he get moved to a place where he gets more use? Will he be on a team with a better quarterback so we actually see a ceiling from him? Like, I just feel like from an NFL perspective, decent move. From like a production evaluation on the talent, from a lot of other aspects, I feel like in a year and a half, we're still going to have like the same questions about Claypool.
I'm not projecting him as he's still, for fantasy purposes, a wide receiver 3.
I think it's a downgrade.
I think from an opportunity perspective, though, it's an upgrade. Like, just he's going to be a bona fide, clear-cut, no George Pickens in the way, every down player for the Bears. So from an opportunity perspective, maybe a situation perspective, it's not as good. But Kenny Pickett's, a rookie taking his lumps. At least Justin Fields has that under his belt as far as a little extra seasoning. I don't, I'm not expecting the world here, and I'm not gonna, die on any type of hill as far as like a debate here, because, again,
right.
it is a.
We're speculating.
It's speculation on what is ultimately like a significant move, but maybe not a major move. I think Claypool's got some wide receiver 3. Boom bust potential, maybe a little bit more stability in his situation now. It's not any significant type of, redraft upgrade where you're firing up in your lineup every week, but his opportunity is a little better. Now, on the flip side, I would say the big winner here is, without a doubt, unquestionably, already was a winner anyway. Now it's, without a doubt, is George Pickens.
Pickens is a winner, Deontay's a winner, Freiermuth's a winner, and Fields is a winner. But Claypool is not a winner here. And I don't know if the Bears organization is a winner here.
I'm not ready to go there.
Fair.
I'm not ready to go there. But Deontay and George Pickens are both. Deontay was already a wide receiver 2 who was in your lineup anyway. Pickens was maybe a will I, won't I each week. Now I think it's more like, I want to put him in there.
Yeah, he should be in your lineup every week.
Yeah, I would think so. So that's the fallout from that trade. What else did we have? Chase Edmonds got snuck into the Bradley Chubb deal, almost like it was like, you didn't think we would notice that? Chase Edmonds goes to Denver.
Talk about a swerve after paying a guy.
Yeah, well, yeah. And then Denver was like, we'll take another running back to muddy the waters in our own backfield. That situation is gross. I don't even want to spend that much time on it. The Denver backfield is disgusting.
The Denver everything is no.
The Denver everything is disgusting. Although I will say Jerry Jeudy's been pretty decent the past 3 weeks. Why his name was in trade rumors, I don't understand. Like, what were the Broncos hoping to get for him? But he's been solid recently. Sutton has been a little quieter the past couple of weeks, but he's been fine for most of the season.
Well, now, Jeff Wilson goes back the other way to Miami in a different deal. And I think, we're not touching any Denver running back. Chase Edmonds is just like, well, whatever. But
why?
Jeff Wilson, all of a sudden, now we have basically the San Francisco running back core from years past in Miami, and I like that. Like you have Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, and cool. We've seen how that has worked. We've seen how both at points when coexisting with each other, both have had fantasy success. I like the landing spot. It muddies the waters a little bit for Raheem Mostert, who, even with Chase Edmonds there, we were pointing at Raheem Mostert like, all right, this is the guy. Mm-hmm. Now, considering what Jeff Wilson has done, it could be a 50-50 split between the two. And I think it should be. And therefore, both are RB3s with RB2 upside on a week-to-week basis until further notice.
Yeah, both have been good. Both have been good this year. In their moments, and so both have some flex appeal moving forward. I would probably wait a week on Wilson, just like let's see it, and let's let him get acclimated, right? Although there's probably not too much new that he has to learn, because again, like you mentioned, it's not only is it the San Francisco. Well, not only is the San Francisco backfield just now in Miami, but it's the offensive mind that came from San Francisco who knows these guys. It's his playbook that they originally were operating in anyway. So yeah, I think both are solid flex options moving forward.
And then the last, and I guess on the flip side, Elijah Mitchell maintains a little bit of value moving forward as a direct handcuff.
Yeah.
And CMC to the moon, unleashed. If you didn't know that already.
Yeah.
And then the last piece of news is really the Nyheim Hines to the Bills.
Yeah. As far as moves that impact this season,
right?
Because we also had a Calvin Ridley trade.
Yep.
But for this season, Nyheim Hines goes to the Bills in exchange for Zach Moss and a 6th round pick.
Yep. Could be a 5th, but
Okay.
Conditional. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It'll be so. I feel like for most fantasy people, this was the landing spot nobody wanted a running back to end up in, because the Bills don't run the ball. Now, Nyheim Hines maybe fits a little bit more in their offensive scheme than.
See, I don't even know that, man.
I
I think Nyheim Hines is in an effort to fix losing Cole Beasley. I don't think he plays running back. I think the Duke Johnson acquisition, or the Duke Johnson acquisition earlier on, I think the J.D. McKissick tryout, I think it was all because they still don't trust Isaiah McKenzie in a full-time role, and they knew that Jamison Crowder was, not somebody they could healthily, health-wise rely on for a full-time role either. I think Nyheim Hines gets brought in to play primarily, not even just running back, but just a pass-catching role in this offense, a role that James Cook is just not ready for quite yet.
No, James Cook is officially toast for 2022 redraft. For Dynasty,
as he always should have been. You never, he was never somebody that we were, a pass-catching, undersized pass-catching running back for a team that is in win-now mode and shouldn't be trying to, should be trying to get the most out of their rookies and all that. But, if they can get a veteran in here, that was the game plan and should have been the game plan all along. James Cook was always a play for 2023, not for 2022. This just solidifies it.
I thought he was a potentially interesting guy to add in the second half of the season, just to follow the trend that rookie running backs tend to progressively get better as the season goes on.
And has been.
And he did, right. And he was. He leapfrogged Moss on the depth chart. He started to look pretty decent with the touches that he was getting. Truthfully, I was like, man, for his sake, I hope the Bills don't make an addition, because he looks like he might be able to help them out, or give them a little something. Now that's dead.
I think he's still the number 2 back. Again, I think Nyheim Hines is playing a pass-catching hybrid role. I don't know if he sees many true running back snaps, and I still think James Cook is the number 2. Now, last year we saw the number 2, and early this year we saw, de facto number 2 early in the year, Zach Moss, get basically no run. Mm-hmm. So I think it's Devin Singletary to the moon, as much as you can say that. His role, he's good. It doesn't change. He's been a rock solid, to your point, right? An RB2 all season thus far.
Unchanged with this move.
Doesn't change, right? I think Nyheim Hines picks up a few more of those dump-off passes, those easy dump-off passes that have been missing from this offense.
Yeah.
And keep it moving, and don't let this move really change your outlook on much.
He's gonna get backfield snaps, right? Because he's a
I'm just glad they didn't go after a guy like a CMC. I feel like this kind of fits where the Bills are at.
That would have never made sense. No. That would have never made sense for them and how they operate. But this move, as much as it sucks for James Cook, the move does make a little bit more sense. They love to throw. They throw the ball a ton.
Yeah.
Nyheim Hines makes sense in passing down situations, and for the Bills, every down is a passing down.
And he's been a vet in that role, so if he can impart any wisdom onto a James Cook, all the better.
Sure. Yeah, he's been doing it for 5 years in Indianapolis.
Right.
With up and down success, but some of that was because of usage that was out of his control. So that is, you can't hold that against him. So Hines is, for redraft purposes, roster worthy.
He's kind of what he always was.
Roster worthy, probably not flexible unless something happens to Singletary. And even then, it's like that might be a good thing for James Cook before it's a good thing for Nyheim Hines. So, yeah, situation is much better. No question about that. But with so many mouths to feed and with how they utilize their running backs, if he's on your waiver wire, I don't think I'm running.
I'm leaving him there. He wasn't a direct handcuff to Jonathan Taylor.
No.
He's just not that direct handcuff type of guy. Not on the Bills either.
He's that type of dude where he has a role, and no matter what happens, he's in that role.
Exactly.
So But better situation, greener pastures, no doubt. Better offensive line, better quarterback, better offense, better everything. So he gets a boost in that regard.
But let's get to this chat here because we've let it pile up. Well, we've just been talking about the happenings of the day, and we will go back to talk more about that throughout the evening too. If any of you guys have any more questions about any of the players that we just talked about, or if we missed somebody who was a beneficiary of it, or it affected them negatively, or whatever.
Sure.
But Tim, what's happening? DJ Duvernay, what's happening? Do you guys like Deion Jackson as a pickup? Had a huge week.
Might as well finish this thought off.
Huh?
I might as well finish this thought off. We were just talking about Hines.
Yeah. I mean, I think Deion Jackson's the new number 2 there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Zach Moss.
Oh, no. God, no. Unfortunately, I don't know. The sun has apparently set on Zach Moss. I had hope for him. I don't know now.
Well, I mean, you look at just the running backs that they had starting the year in that organization. It was JT, and then it was a bunch of satellite guys like Nyheim Hines and Phillip Lindsay, and the only true like hammerhead type, goal line type projected back was Deion Jackson. So he was kind of a pickup to me just based off of that. Now they make this trade. They bring in a guy who is a little bit more of a goal line back, something like that. So they have another guy like that in the organization. I think it was more of a move to just make a switch like that. Mm-hmm. Move from pass catcher to somebody who they can be a little bit more versatile with their utilizations. If anything happens to JT, I still think Deion Jackson's the number 2. You saw what he did in filling in for JT.
Yeah.
He showed probably more juice than Zach Moss really ever has.
Yeah. Looks like a solid pickup and is a must grab if he wasn't already on rosters for those who have Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
Without a doubt. And honestly, if you did already have him, you can trade him now to the person who has JT for probably something kind of decent, like today, right now. Maybe by the end of the week, it kind of fizzles out. But based off of the hype of what comes with the trade deadline and who gets impacted and all that, you might be able to sneak out something a little decent for Deion Jackson.
Yeah, I would agree.
To specifically the person who has JT.
Yes.
Because Taylor is...
Same if you have Jalen Warren right now with the Najee owner. Like, there are certain backs right now where if you have the handcuff, you should be shopping them right now. Deion Jackson's one of those guys. I agree.
Yep.
Axis Smith, what's happening? Trade question. You get Sutton, Davis Mills, Brian Robinson, a 3rd and a 7th, and he gets Justin Herbert, Freiermuth, a 9th and a 13th. Well, I mean, I would say the guy that gets Herbert and Freiermuth, like Sutton's been fading for the past few weeks. Now I know he couldn't rely on Russell Wilson, but even now with Russ back, Sutton's been fading. Davis Mills was never somebody you could rely upon outside of 2 QB league, the deepest of 2 QB leagues.
Yeah, that was my question. Is this super flex?
I mean, even if it isn't, I'm saying sure. Now a 3rd and a 7th for a 9th and a 13th, nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, big capital to give up.
But Herbert and Freiermuth, who gets a jump just like Deontay and Pickens do, and Herbert, who's right now the buy low of buy lows, man.
Sure.
So I'm kind of erring on that side, not knowing the whole situation.
You want the Herbert side?
Yeah, I think so.
So you're saying don't do the trade if you're Axis because he said
yes.
They're getting the Sutton side.
Yep.
Yeah. It's pretty good draft capital, but I'm only interested in the draft capital if my team's not very good. If I'm still competing, I think we need a little extra context just to for me to hammer home agreeing with that. What's the situation? Are you competing? Is it a super flex league? All those extra little details will help kind of formulate my
Right. Is
final
this
thoughts
keeper
on
or
this.
dynasty or what?
Right.
Like,
it has to be some
13th round
form of
pick. It has
keeper.
to. Yeah. I don't.
If you're trading picks, it's got to be.
I'm guessing. I think it's a keeper.
Yeah.
Because if you're trading 9th and 13th round picks, that only makes sense in a startup or a keeper league. But regardless, let us know, and we can deliberate on it a little bit more.
Yep.
But there you go. Jay Judah, you got offered Chubb and Zeke for Henry and Gus. Also, Chubb and Hopkins for Gabe Davis and Henry.
The Chubb and Hopkins one, without question.
Yes.
Dude, yeah. You're going from Gabe Davis to Hopkins and from Derrick Henry to Chubb, which is basically lateral. If you can get Chubb and Hopkins for Gabe Davis and Derrick Henry, run, don't walk.
It's a win.
Run to that, don't walk. Smash accept. Yep.
Agreed. Senior Rojo, good evening to you too.
What's happening?
And as far as Hines affecting Cook, he's
Let
basically, you gotta leave him alone now for the entire year. Like,
let us know
he's
if
a drop.
we did just kind of talk about it. Let us know if you maybe missed it or didn't miss or did catch it. We can rehash if you didn't hear what we talked about. But we did kind of address this already. Talking through the trades.
Not long term, just in the short term. And Tim Shields, if you have any more questions about that, let us know.
Yep, Deontay, George Pickens. I mean, you were starting Deontay anyway, but yeah.
To the moon, maybe not so much, but definitely get a jolt.
Yeah, he's just, he is there without question. It's like he's our wide receiver one.
Yep.
Maybe not without question. Pickens looks good, but Deontay's good too.
And JP, you got Kelsey and Chase for Waddle, Gus, and Irv Smith. Wow.
Oh, I remember.
Wow.
We were talking
Good
about
job,
this
man.
We were talking about this in the Discord. Yeah, I was like, this guy sounds nuts if he's going to accept this, but made it and Irv Smith is dead. I mean, yeah, that's you basically gave, and Gus is hurt. You basically gave up Waddle for Kelsey and Chase. Like, pretty good.
Yeah. And then Brady and Miles Sanders looking to upgrade and package Waller and Boyd with them. That's a large package, depending on what you're
I think you
getting
made
back.
your move, JP. I'm not moving Miles Sanders.
I don't want to rely on Brady. So if I can upgrade from Brady, I'm upgrading from Brady.
Fine.
Like, I'm now firmly in the Justin Fields over Tom Brady. Like, that's where I'm at. Like,
there's a lot of quarterbacks over Tom Brady right now.
Yeah, like he is. Yes, he's consistent, getting you anywhere from 15 to 17 points a week, pretty much. But I need more than that if I'm trying to win a championship. He's not a championship winning quarterback anymore. So I am willing to explore a trade there. But I'm trying to hold on to Sanders. They didn't make a move at the deadline, and they're one of the heaviest running teams and most successful running teams in the NFL right now. I'm not moving away from that. Try to package Boyd and Brady for an upgrade.
Sure. Because Brady and Waller is not probably enticing to anybody.
And you got Chase coming back in a few weeks. Like, package Boyd with somebody.
Yeah, package Boyd with somebody. Yep, there you go.
And see if you can upgrade.
Yep.
And DJ Duvernay, do you think Waller is worth trading for?
Speaking of Waller, no, I don't. Hamstring issues that have been hampering him through the bye week, and the Raiders look just terrible. They just look terrible right now. I don't want, outside of Josh Jacobs, I mean, I guess you could try to buy low Devontae Adams. I don't know what a buy low looks like for Devontae Adams. I'm
at the point I'd rather have Greg Dulcich. I'd rather have...
oh, God, yeah. Not even close.
Like, I dare say, would I rather have Evan Ingram
over Darren Waller?
Like, would I rather have Evan Ingram? I mean,
maybe.
Yeah,
but that's where we're at.
Yeah,
I don't want. I'm not touching Darren Waller with a 10-foot.
So if you can trade him off a name recognition alone for anything, do it. Because I'm not
trying. If you're worth trading for, hard no.
No.
Hard no.
And yeah, JP, you just got Kelsey, so you're trying to move Waller.
You might have to accept peanuts for him given your situation, but honestly, that's fine.
Or just a lateral situation from a tight end that you don't really like to maybe a wide receiver or a running back that you can't play right now or something like that.
Sure.
And Daniel, first question about Calvin Ridley, and we did not touch on this yet, so let's talk about Calvin Ridley to the Jags next season.
Sure. He's exactly what in a vacuum. He's exactly what Jacksonville's offense needs, right? A field stretcher, a guy who can get open on the outside, on the perimeter. They don't have that right now. Christian Kirk is a really good wide receiver, an above average wide receiver. That might be doing him a little bit of injustice just saying that, but he's a slot guy who can't separate on the outside. That's not what you signed him for. That's not the role that you ask of when you sign and bring in a guy like Christian Kirk. Calvin Ridley can do that. The concerns are obviously, we already know, right? He's kind of, this is a goofy off-field situation for him, right? He took time away from the Falcons last year, right? It was rumored, speculated, whatever you want to call it, that he was dealing with some mental health stuff, which I'm not ever sure came to light. Obviously,
no, I think that was kind of a scapegoat for what he was dealing with, and then it got.
And I don't want to assume anything for as far as
maybe scapegoat's the wrong word, but
sure, maybe he actually
the mental health stuff was wrapped up in this what it was going through, right?
Right. So that's a red flag, right? It's maybe not a major red flag, but it's a red flag nonetheless. Like, where is this guy's head at? Although he did tweet out, the Duval hashtag right after the trade, so I think he's excited about the situation. The other thing with Calvin is he's 28 years old. That's not, or he's 27 now. He will be 28 when next season starts, when the 2023 season starts. But here's the thing. It's kind of like, I'm kind of comparing apples to oranges, but from the perspective of just the suspension, it's kind of like a DeAndre Hopkins. It's not PEDs. It's not like a performance thing. He got slapped for gambling, which is a major no-no as a professional athlete. You just cannot do it. So he still faces uncertainty about his reinstatement date. It's like, remember, the suspension is indefinite, right? They didn't put a firm they didn't say 1 year, like 1 year, that's it. Like, okay, on this date in 2023, you're good. They did not do that. So Ridley still has some hurdles to clear as far as getting reinstated. I have to imagine this is like a good behavior type of thing. As long as he's showing that, or as long as there's no other issues with him through the rest of this season and into the offseason, I have to imagine he'll be reinstated. So as long as this best case scenario plays out, this is a great thing for the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. Where I'm a little concerned about Calvin Ridley is, what is Trevor Lawrence? Is he that dude, or is he just a guy? Because this past Sunday is like the second or third performance in a row where I'm like, what's going on with this supposed can't miss prospect who was the number 1 overall pick in the draft? Because he doesn't look like it right now.
I have other concerns about Calvin Ridley. I have multiple actual concerns about Calvin Ridley. I still think it was a good move, smart move.
Sure.
What are you losing? Just go, like, you're getting a ready-made guy who can come in and who wants to play probably more than anybody right now.
Sure.
But by the time he comes in to that organization, he'll be halfway through his age 28 season. And I know wear and tear, he hasn't played for the past year and a half. Right. At that point, it'll be like 2.5 years. But remember, like early in his career, back-to-back 800-yard seasons with a 10-plus receiving yard or touchdown season, 10 reception season. Who does that sound like? Chase Claypool. Comes in 2020.
He's better than Chase.
He is. I'm just saying, from a statistical standpoint, 800 and 800, one of those seasons with at least 10 touchdowns. That's legitimately Claypool. Comes in 2020, explodes across from Julio Jones, who half the time wasn't even playing. 1,300-yard season, 9 touchdowns, wide receiver 4.
Balled out.
And then the following season, 2021, in the 5 games that he did play, 52 targets, a lot of targets, was not producing.
No.
So, like, I'm going back to this. Yeah. We've seen Calvin Ridley, Calvin Ridley once for one season with a quarterback who, even at the time, was underrated. And I know I bring up Matt Ryan now, and you can roll your eyes, but at the time, in 2020, he was still one of the better quarterbacks in the league. even last year, 2021, still one of the better quarterbacks, I would say, at racking up statistics in the league.
Nobody was looking at Matt Ryan and saying he's cooked last year.
No, I mean, look at the difference between the Falcons offense last year and this year. I mean, it wasn't it was night and day based on that. Mm-hmm. I just don't know if the combination of, to your point, Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley means fantasy success.
Yeah, that's my concern.
He's 28 and a half years old. The cutoff for production is usually around 30.
Yeah.
So you're hoping for a magical year and a half, right? Like, I don't know. We'll see. I've never been super high on Calvin Ridley post-gambling issues. I've never been like, oh, this should be a guy you could target.
Milo.
Yeah, hopefully it works out. I was never super
high in Dynasty.
He's been a sell high for whatever you can get. He's been just a sell for me.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm not crazy about. I'm just not crazy. I'm less concerned about Ridley himself and more concerned about this Jags offense, and I'm specifically concerned about the quarterback.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts on Calvin Ridley. I think he can still be a good productive player in the NFL. I do.
Anybody expecting him to be the wide receiver one that he was that one season, I think he performs right around where like DJ Moore has. I think he can get to 1,000 yards. I think he can get low touchdown totals, and I think that's where he is. I could be very wrong. Because he's performed way outside of that once.
Yeah.
So I could be wrong. He could do it again. But
he'll have his opportunity, that's for sure, because there's nobody on Jacksonville's roster currently that can challenge him for work on the perimeter, on the outside.
He should come in and take Marvin Jones' role altogether next season.
Oh, that's toast. Yeah. I mean, no disrespect to Marvin Jones. He's had a hell of a career. But
also, like, how does he handle coming back from being on the bench and being on the couch for, not even the bench, but being on the couch for a year and a half? Like, you got to come back from that, which is different for a wide receiver than it is for a running back and stuff. So, mixed bag about Calvin Ridley. I think it's a better NFL move than it is a fantasy one.
Yeah.
And DJ Duvernay has Evan Ingram. We would probably at this point play Evan Ingram over Waller, even if both are healthy.
Play Ingram. Yeah, just play Ingram over Waller. And what has he done recently outside of like the first 2 weeks of the season to feel like he's a reliable option right now? And the Raiders' offense at large is not reliable right now.
And that's it.
Yeah. Nah. He was good early, like JP said. He was good early, but that was, 2 weeks in the NFL is a lifetime. That was a long time ago, and now he's older with hamstring issues. They're past their bye week, and he still wasn't able to come back. Now we're like 2 weeks past their bye week. He's still not healthy. He's still not right. This Raiders offense in general does not look good. Yeah, nah, pass. I drafted him. I drafted him several times this year, whether it was in one league or in a best ball here and there, and it's like I already know that that's a bad situation. So, yeah.
And Rollins, do I trade Pitts, Khalil Herbert, and Zay Jones for Freiermuth and Sanders in a 12 team?
Yeah.
No, do you?
To get Sanders? Look at Khalil Herbert. I like Khalil Herbert. Zay Jones has been
Zay Jones doesn't factor in for me. It's just that Pitts finally had a week where it was like, okay, finally. All right.
Yeah, finally.
Let's see. Maybe it's all right. Finally, we will see some consistency because they realize what this guy is.
I think if
now this does happen it does happen as soon as Cordell Patterson's due to be coming off the IR. So maybe maybe it is a sell high Pitts week
for redraft anyway. But
I guess I don't hate this. It's just I hate giving up on Pitts after the week. He finally had the week.
Yeah, could you keep Herbert and do Pitts and Zay Jones for Freiermuth and Sanders? You're probably not. Probably not.
No,
let's be honest.
You probably need to add Khalil Herbert. And Khalil Herbert's finally
Yeah.
I know he's splitting work. I know he's not going to be what Sanders has been, but he's finally giving you like RB2 weeks.
Yeah. Sanders is just, I mean, all I'll say is the pieces that you would be acquiring, stock up on both of them post trade deadline. Freiermuth without Claypool and Sanders without the Eagles making a move.
If you're like 6-1, 5-2, I think I want to have the Pitts side. I do.
Keep what's been working.
But and what's finally started to like show some life. But if I'm desperate for wins, if I'm middle of the road and I just need to kickstart my team and I need to do that now,
yeah,
I can't wait on, Khalil Herbert to have more of a role and Pitts to finally get moving. I mean, I'm going from all upside in Pitts and Herbert to all win now in Freiermuth and Sanders. So that's where my distinction lays. If I need wins and I'm struggling, I make that deal. If I've been all right, I don't think I do.
Okay.
Because Freiermuth might give you a few better weeks now, but Pitts is the higher ceiling guy over the rest of the season. Sanders will give you better weeks right now, but Khalil Herbert could inch his way closer to what Sanders has been giving you. So it depends what kind of situation you're in.
Sure.
And Joe Harris, 12-team, 3 wide receiver and a flex setup, full PPR. You have the 5th waiver claim and you're 4-4.
All right.
Should you pick up Claypool, Fields, Kenyon Drake, Hubbard, Deion Jackson, or Dubs?
Dubs? I guess Dub.
What's your quarterback right now? Because Fields is, if I'm not in the top 8 at quarterback, I'd rather play Fields.
Actually, right below. I know it was a weird backfield situation in LA this past week, but I'm not dropping Henderson. I'm not dropping Palmer with no Mike Williams for the next month, and I'm not quite ready to drop Pacheco yet. I don't think. Unless you're sorely hurting for a wide receiver start.
Yeah, you're 4-4. You need to jumpstart. Palmer is enticing, but he went from isn't he on a bye?
Henderson?
No, the Chargers. They're not playing this week, are they?
The Chargers was last week. That was their bye week.
That was their bye. Okay.
They're back this week. Yeah.
They're back this week. All right. Because I was gonna say if he was on a bye, then you can drop him and pick him up next week. But same for Pacheco then.
Right, they're both back.
Yeah, I mean,
buys.
I guess
Henderson's on bye this week, I think.
I guess I'd stayed pat. And if you need a quarterback and your quarterback is a Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, go get Fields and drop it.
Right.
I guess a Pacheco, because Palmer had 12 targets last week. So I don't know if I want to go away from that. But only if you need quarterback. And if you need a running back, and do you want to go with Kenyon Drake because Gus Edwards doesn't look like he's playing, and you think you can get more points?
He's got McCaffrey, Gibson, and Herbert.
I'm just seeing that. Yeah, all right,
yeah,
you're fine.
I'm not playing any of those guys on the wire over those guys. I think you're good. And Gibson, talk about springing back to life. Antonio Gibson the past
17
couple
points
weeks,
last week, yeah,
and I think 15 the week before.
Yep.
So he's back in the starter conversation for your fantasy squad. I think Washington finally.
I think I'm standing pat.
Wised up.
And you got Dak. Stand pat.
Yeah, you're good. Stick with what you got.
I mean, if you wanted to play a little bit of a trade game, you could try to float like a Geno or something like that, and then upgrade somewhere else, and then just pick up Fields. You know what I mean?
You could do that.
Like package Geno and Pacheco, or package Geno and a Palmer, upgrade at wide receiver, and then just pick up your quarterback too.
Sure.
Something like that.
Or rock with Dak and pick up Dubs.
Yeah. I'm still not super in on Dubs.
Past their bye? Are the Cowboys past their bye? No, they're not. Are they?
I don't know, but I don't think
they are.
I'm not in on Dubs, but that's me.
Hey, nice. Oh, they are. Sorry. The Cowboys are on bye this week. Week 9 is their bye week. So actually, he needs a quarterback this week. So Yeah, you can rock with Geno for one more week. He had a nice day.
And you have Metcalf, so that is a stack. So, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, stick with what you got.
And buys are killing you, Cameron B. For week 9, your starters are Burrow, Hines, Madison, A.J. Brown, K.J. Osborne, Dawson Knox, Isaiah Pacheco, Eagles D, Jason Myers.
I mean,
if everybody is on the bench,
you might just have to eat the L this week. And guess what? Sometimes that happens, and that's, as long as if you can absorb it. If you're 2-6 or 3-5, and you're like, I'm hanging on for dear life, then yeah, maybe text your league, hit the league up. Like, hey guys, need bodies this week. Willing to talk shop. Anything can be on the table. Like, hit me up. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're 6-2, if you're 5-3, then just
maybe this week maybe you win. I mean, you're probably not going to expect much from Hines. But I mean, AJ Brown and Burrow, KJ Osborne having to fill in with probably
Burrow's
no
on
Irv
bye,
Smith, and Hawkinson maybe not being involved right away.
Burrow's not on bye.
Dawson Knox got Burrow's on bye.
I thought he was. He's not on bye till next week, so he's good. You're good. You're good.
Dawson Knox finally scoring a touchdown. Like, hey, Eagles defense being Eagles defense. Maybe it is the Pacheco week after last week where everybody was in on him. Like,
sure.
you can still pull this out. So yes,
after the bye week,
always have a chance. It just doesn't. Your starters, especially at running back, don't look great, but you have a chance.
Madison got in there last week, and I think he scored. So yeah, you never know. That's why we play the game, right?
Yeah.
You never know.
And Joe Harris, do you play defense with Fields and pick him up so he doesn't? I mean,
I never operate worrying about my opponents. I worry about operating what is the best roster that I can put together for myself. I see the strategy, but like, that's a playoff game thing that I'm worrying about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not too worried about it. I mean, you can if you want to, but I personally wouldn't be too worried about it, and neither is Nick.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that.
Rico, is Brian Robinson worth keeping on the roster? Yes.
Yeah, but I understand the concern.
Then hey, we have both liked Gibson more than Brian Robinson pretty much throughout the entire process.
Maybe Rivera finally listened to us.
It was always head scratching being so in on Brian Robinson.
Gibson is their
over
best
Gibson
football player in that backfield. If you don't want to say he's their best running back, then fine. But he's their best football player.
Yes. All right, Edward, you got a massive trade here. Dalvin, Fournette, Mike Evans, and Lamar for Hurts, Waddle, CD, and Swift. Wow. I guess you're not going to tell us who you got. I guess you got Dalvin, Fournette, Evans, and Lamar.
I mean, I'd rather have again. So with this type of situation, Edward, I don't know the context of. Forget whichever side you're on. I don't know what the rest of your team looks like. So that's, we always preach on this channel, and for anybody, because we get a lot of who won this trade questions. Mm-hmm. It's not about who won. It's about, did my team get better?
The best trades are the one where both teams get better. I'll stand by that.
Yeah. That being said, I like the Hurts side.
I mean, if you need running backs, I guess you could prefer the other side. It just depends where you're at. I, too, prefer, in a vacuum, the Hurts, Waddle, CD, Swift side of things.
Like, if I'm desperate for running back help, then the Dalvin side is fine. But in a vacuum, I guess I prefer Hurts is what, the QB2? And I don't think that's changing.
Waddle's a top 6 wide receiver.
7
CD,
minimum,
if he's not 6, is 7.
Right.
And Swift on per game basis,
15 points a game.
Yeah,
give me the Hurts side.
Yeah, yeah.
Hurts is a better fantasy performer than Lamar right now.
Evans isn't even a top 16 wide receiver right now.
Yeah. Bateman is reportedly going to miss multiple weeks with a re-aggravation of the injury, so Lamar's without his wide receiver 1 for
Andrews, because Andrews got banged up.
Andrews is hurt. Apparently that sounds less serious. I think Andrews is reportedly fine.
No, Isaiah Likely's taking his job too.
Isaiah Likely looks very good. Okay. He looks very good. He does. Had that little like toe tap, keep the foot in bounds for the score. Like, I don't know. That took talent.
That's like, a wide receiver move. That's not a tight end move. So respect.
Yeah, he looks good. I mean, Evans is Evans, right? He's a stud. I mean, all these guys are very good. Fournette's a little volatile, right? He hasn't had a ton of rushing yardage, but he's coming through with touchdowns, and he still catches the ball.
I mean, we both would rather to have the Hurts side, unless you need running backs.
If I'm desperate for running back, that side is fine. There's nothing bad with that side. You know, it's just I prefer the Hurts side in a vacuum.
And Tim, I think I would. I mean, Garrett Wilson, 100 yards for the first time with Zach Wilson. Even with no Corey Davis and Elijah Moore being the squeaky wheel, Elijah Moore didn't get a ton of work.
He got no work.
Who's that wide receiver? Denzel Mims got more snaps.
Mims got work
than Elijah Moore, and I don't know if because that's true. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't have just traded him at the deadline. They can't now. Deadline's over.
No.
But like, yeah, I think I would if I have Gibson already. I would drop Brian Robinson for Garrett Wilson because Garrett Wilson just has the upside to give you a boom week. Brian Robinson, I don't know if he has the upside to give you a boom week. I think he is boring unless he gets you a touchdown. And right now, that's Gibson's role anyway.
The only concern I would have here is because you have both of them, therefore you have the insurance policy. That's the only thing. If one goes down, you have the other guy. You're obviously keeping Gibson, but if anything happens to Gibson, you have the dude who is in line to see a bump and work.
It depends on your running back depth, but barring having terrible running back depth, I think I'm fine with that. Because Garrett Wilson has 16 to 20 point upside, and I think that with room for more, because I think he has a 28 point week with Flacco. Brian Robinson, like his ceiling is like 15 to 17 points. Ceiling. With the role that he's playing, his usage, and just his overall talent. Like, I think 60 yards and a touchdown is just like Algier, what Brian Robinson can give you at his ceiling. And that's kind of it.
I guess it's fine if you have good running back depth.
Yeah.
As far as Herbert over Monty, we're not, I mean, in a vacuum, yes, it's a very much David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert is very much, as far as I'm concerned, an Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard situation where the backup is very clearly the better player.
Yep.
But the starter is going to keep getting work to the detriment of the better explosive backup. We're not there yet as far as making that final call for this Sunday. Let's see how the vibes shake out over the course of the week. Do we hear that Herbert is getting more snaps with the ones? Then, like, all right, we'll figure that out as practice rolls along. We got to put a pin in that one. But obviously, the intrigue is there. The want to start Herbert over Montgomery is clearly there. It's just he's got a David Montgomery problem, much like Tony Pollard has a Ezekiel Elliott problem. Pollard had a spectacular week this past week, and immediately Jerry Jones was like, "No, we're going back to Zeke."
That guy. Yeah. Well, I mean, we can't say that yet. Great weeks. We want to see it, but what we want doesn't automatically happen for NFL teams.
Yep.
Some NFL teams just like that 3 yards in a cloud of dust mentality. Is the way it is. Yeah. Greg Z, glad we could help you out.
Greg?
That's a few items for my one league defense. Cincy, Minnesota, KC, Indianapolis or Miami. And then kicker, Bass or McPherson.
Well, McPherson had a night to forget last night. I actually missed that game. I didn't really see it. But I know I think he missed multiple kicks, including extra points. So, night to forget for McPherson. Probably like Bass feels a little safer, at least for this week.
Bass has that offense has all their weapons, and I'm not scared of the Jets. Like, I think Bass.
Well, the problem with Bass is the Bills go for it on fourth down. That's the thing. That being said, Bass is probably, you're getting a minimum of 5 or 6 points from Bass, and maybe that's enough for your kicker position. Maybe that's enough for your team. I need to table that one. As far as the defenses, who's playing who? I'm not caught up
KC's
yet on the
playing
Week 9
Tennessee.
matchups. That's one.
Minnesota's playing Washington.
That's also
Indianapolis is playing New England.
I don't know if I trust the Colts right now. Like, they're fine, but the problem is they have to prop up an anemic offense.
Miami's playing Chicago.
I don't know if I want to do that one.
Not
Chicago's
anymore.
playing
Chicago's
better
been
recently.
good, and then Cincy's playing Carolina. I mean, that's enticing.
Yeah, that's enticing, even though the Panthers just put up a ton of points. I know it's the Falcons, but they look like they're playing a little bit better recently.
I don't know if I can.
Greg, we gotta. It's a little too early in the week for me to make that call. I got to do some homework.
The Bengals look enticing, but that's all I'll say at this point. The Bengals look enticing. KC against Tennessee
Chiefs
also
are enticing, just because you expect them to win games. Therefore, the defense is in.
And if it's Malik Willis again, like that's a stream against. So
that's an easy call.
Yeah. And Fabian, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Gotta win. Hey, man, improvement is improvement. You're not dead. I know 2-6 looks dead. You're on life support, but you're not dead.
Yeah, you're staying alive. That's exactly where you need to be.
I've told people before. I think I've said I made the playoffs one time when I was 5-8. Like, this was years ago. I was a wee babe, but it happened. I was 5-8 and made it as a 6 seed. Jamal Charles, shout out. I think I picked him up like week 12, and that was the first time he got an expanded opportunity, and that's when he was like, "I'm Jamal Charles." It was awesome. So yeah, you never know. This is why you play the game. This is why you keep each week. You're just trying to go 1-0 each week. That's it. Can't worry about the 6 losses. They are in the past.
Yep.
Move forward.
Nemo, what's happening, man?
Done. What's up, Nemo? Nemo needs a zombie friend.
Yeah.
I hope you get it this week, Nemo. I hope you get it this week. I'm rooting for. I stand by it. I know the zombie. It's hard for the zombie to win games. I stand by it. I would happily be a zombie.
It looks fun.
I want that challenge.
Yeah, you gotta.
I want that challenge.
You gotta understand that you're probably gonna lose every game, but the one that you win is the Super Bowl.
Popping bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Fabian, 12-man league, and Wan'Dale Robinson got dropped, and you have the first waiver claim. You have DJ Moore, London, Dubs, Boyd, Tony, and Watson. With that current crop of wide receivers, you probably do need some help at wide receiver, but Wan'Dale, I don't know if he's worth number 1 overall claim. Right. Like, is Rondale Moore out there coming off of a touchdown, 2 rushes on the ground, 8 targets, I believe, for 90-something yards.
Yeah.
Like, is he out there? Hollywood's not coming back. He's got a full-time role and is getting some rushing usage. Is he out there?
Keep in mind, Wan'Dale's on bye this week, so you would be burning the number 1 overall waiver claim for a guy that can't help you this week. So I would not. Garrett
Wilson is a guy we just talked about. Palmer coming off a 12-target week, and then went into a bye, so now he's off the bye. Is Josh Palmer out there? Those are guys that I would rather have. I mean, if you want a boom-bust type, Devin Duvernay with no Rashad Bateman and maybe Andrews a little bit banged up. Devin Duvernay's in that conversation too. It's just you can't trust Tony. You can't trust Watson. I guess you have to trust Dobbs. I'm glad DJ Moore is getting more work. And you gotta continue to hope that Boyd continues to catch touchdowns.
Yeah.
You need wide receiver help. I'm trying to get somebody else.
Yeah. A trade might be in your best interests.
Honestly, yeah. And yeah, I know it sucks having to move Boyd considering he might be the most productive wide receiver you have on your squad right now. But because of that, like, you might...
I'd try to move Boyd and Dubs for like a rock solid wide receiver too. Dubs just caught a touchdown.
Maybe
Boyd,
somebody's insanely high on Tony.
Sure. I doubt it, but sure.
Yeah, try to package Boyd with one of those guys and see what happens.
Sure. Watson might be a drop for redraft.
Yeah. And Greg Z, other league question, 2 running backs, rest of season, Algier Henderson or Brian Robinson for 2 bench spots. Wide receiver thoughts on Zay Jones. You're thinking of dropping Mooney, Garrett Wilson, or London for him.
Did Zay Jones have a day that I missed yesterday, or Sunday?
I don't know. Let
me see.
Zay Jones.
No, he had 1 carry for 7 yards. He caught 3 targets. He caught all 3 of his 3 targets for 28 yards. No, I'm not. No. Mooney, no. Wilson, no. London, still no. Even despite the
I want all those guys.
No, I will no. Hard no on Zay Jones.
And as far as 2 bench spots, it's the 2 guys that are starting right now. To me, Algier and Henderson.
Well, Henderson didn't start the game for the. Again,
was it Ronnie Rivers?
It was Ronnie Rivers, who might be worth.
Yeah, that situation is weird.
That situation is disgusting. Henderson had 4 carries for 16 yards, and he caught 2 balls for 14 yards. It was a very odd situation. Out-touched 12-6 by undrafted rookie Ronnie Rivers. And this was from the jump. Rivers was the guy in that backfield from the first quarter.
And this is just even more of an indictment on Cam Akers for me, dude. If you're gonna phase him out of the offense, and then the second you get Ronnie Rivers up to speed, you're not playing Darrell Henderson at all. Yeah. Where Darrell Henderson was a bell cow for you when Cam Akers was in. It's weird.
Do you have to none of these dudes are coming off injury, Greg? Do you have to drop one of these dudes right now? Algier, I think you have to hold. And between Brian Robinson and Henderson, I guess right now the one that's a little bit more trustworthy is Robinson based off of this past Sunday's development. Yeah. But I'm not. I mean, again, it's not like one of these dudes was sitting in an IR spot and now you have to drop one to make pickups. I think I just hold and hope that the situation clears up with one of them, and then it makes the decision easier. I'm not trying to make a call on this right now.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, Algier for sure, and then you're talking about 2 incredibly murky situations that I think we need another week to play out.
So, yeah. Hope that helps, man. And Joshua Rodriguez, you're 5-3 with JT playing horrible. Should you trade JT, Isaiah McKenzie, and Taysom Hill for another team's Mike Evans and Pickens? No.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
I mean, you're 5-3. You got a winning record. You got to 5-3 with largely JT playing horrible. I still think JT can have a little bit of a resurgence here. He's the RB32. He can get back on track to a certain extent. The other pieces you're trading away don't really factor in, but would you trade Mike Evans and Pickens for JT straight up? And would I do that?
If I'm acquiring Evans and Pickens, I mean, again,
what are your running backs and what are your wide receivers look like right now?
Yeah, who are your running backs?
If I'm 5-3, I don't think I'm making any big shake-up moves, especially trading away the guy that I picked up 1-1, most likely. But I guess it depends on the entire picture. Mm-hmm. And Tim, should I hold on to Tony for the Chiefs?
In redraft?
You should be trying to trade him, and if you can't trade him away to another team who's higher on him than you are, then I think he's a cut.
Yeah.
But admittedly, this channel is not very high on Tony.
No.
And
not a great athletic profile, but that doesn't automatically translate to production.
Last year, he was only healthy for 10 out of the 17 games. And this year, it seemed like in the offseason, he didn't do much to address his conditioning and health because he brought the same issues that he had last year right into this year. Has only been active for 2 games. and has been dealing with soft tissue injuries since week 3. Like,
he also admitted on Twitter, I think he eventually deleted the tweet, but just for what it's worth, he also admitted that he essentially admitted he was faking injuries too.
Yeah.
So I think this was a move for the Chiefs for next year. They're going to bring him along slow. They're going to develop him. They have their offense for this year. I don't see it for, I mean, this is not, I don't think a situation where Tony becomes like a late season contributor for them, barring multiple injuries. Yeah, Tony is an easy redraft drop for me. And if he's sitting on waivers, I still have no interest despite the much better situation.
Multiple guys at wide receiver I'd rather have. Garrett Wilson, Rondell Moore. We just talked about those guys. Would rather have them than Tony. And Daniel, you're 3-5, and who can you upgrade for and trade away rest of season? I'd entertain trading Dalvin Cook.
Yeah,
because he's an injury risk.
Yeah.
But that would be first and foremost. You got Lenny.
Which I guess between the two, I think I'd rather keep Lenny because you can't trade both of your starters.
You're 3-5, but now you get Keenan Allen back. You
get
have
Allen
Godwin back.
Dulcich.
You got Dulcich doing things.
Olave.
Debo coming back at some point. Who are your other running backs? But right now, I'd be trying to trade Dalvin Cook for a lesser running back plus.
So I'm going to just take this opportunity really quickly. And, we get these questions a lot, like, what should I do with my team? We are able to do deeper dives for your roster if you become a member of the channel. And then we schedule time with you, one-on-one opportunities with you to look at your roster, do a deep dive on your situation.
Look at your entire league,
hour.
Not just your rosters, but look at your entire league to see how you fit into the equation, right?
Yeah. It allows more personal time that you have with us. We can kind of talk through things in greater detail with uninterrupted without any other questions coming in. So, not to like push you that way, but if you are interested, not anybody, if you're interested in like, here's my situation, who do I trade for? How do I improve my roster? We could talk about that for 45 minutes, but then that's at the expense of everybody else's questions. So it's kind of hard to like do this in a vacuum right here, right now. Like John said, Dalvin Cook might be somebody to try to sell high on because of the injury concerns. Maybe you throw Debo in that too and just like go balls to the wall, try to get a Stephon Diggs.
With your running backs, I think I would just, if you're trying to do that, try to get a Saquon.
But members do have additional access to us, which includes one-on-one time that you can schedule with us. You coordinate with us. We'll get on a phone call. We'll talk through your roster. We'll talk through your league mates' rosters. We'll be able to look at them, and we can give you some really good, again, uninterrupted thoughts, analysis of not just your team, but where we think other teams are that we identify where it's like, that's where you should go as far as a move.
Continue.
Just if you're interested, if anybody's interested, if you have questions about like, here's my roster, here's my record, I'm not sure where to go from here, what do I do? If you are interested in taking that little, financial hit or whatever, first link in the description of our videos is information about channel memberships. That includes one of those perks being one-on-one time with us, something to consider. And it's a much easier opportunity for us and you to get uninterrupted attention on just your team.
There you go.
But in a vacuum, sure. The Dalvin Cook, Debo, screw it. Go get Stephon Diggs. Go get Justin Jefferson, something like that. And a good running back in return. Something like that.
Agreed. And we are a little bit more than an hour into the stream. No real time constraints tonight, but we are not moving through this chat very fast. So, all
right, so let's pick it up a little bit.
We are going to give you some one-word answers where they are warranted. Don't hate us, but where it is warranted, we'll continue to get into the details. But we're going to speed it up a little bit here.
Yep.
Fabian, is Kenyon Drake the clear RB1 for the Ravens now until Gus Edwards comes back? Yeah.
Sure. I guess for as long as I don't know what Gus Edwards' injury length is, but sure, for as long as Edwards is out, Drake can be fired up as like a flex guy.
And Big Trev, good to see you.
What's up, Big Trev?
Need help at flex PPR. Like Josh Palmer coming off of, again, 12 targets the last time we saw him. No
Sure.
Mike Williams. Keenan Allen still might be coming back from something. We don't know. Should be fully healthy, but Josh Palmer is who I would grab.
Yeah, Palmer looks fine. Mooney is also intriguing in a great matchup, and the Bears seem to be playing better on offense. But with no Mike Williams, Palmer is pretty enticing.
Yeah, Mooney. I mean, he's never getting 12 targets. Palmer.
No, but he's putting up some decent production recently, to his credit.
He's been okay due to volume, but I mean, this team again passes. Has 23 completions in the game.
The Chargers,
like
the Chargers throw it more efficiently. There's no doubt there.
And with Claypool going there, like I don't know how fast he gets acclimated, but Mooney is a little bit of a fade. D. Linney, what's happening? Fabian.
D. Linney.
I mean, Zay Jones just isn't that great.
He's a depth guy. He's should remain on your waiver wire. He's going to have his good weeks. They happened to come in the beginning of the season this year, so he looked like a guy worth picking up. And then he kind of did his thing where he's inconsistent and up and down. I don't think anything happened to Zay Jones. He is who he always has been. He's a solid NFL player for fantasy purposes. You can't trust him week to week.
And he fights for Jesus. So there's that.
You love bringing that up.
I do. Uncle Stunkus, I would drop Kadarius. I would keep Dulcich, drop Kadarius, and then drop Tony for somebody and play that person. And we just went over a couple of people you can hit up on waivers. If you have any more questions regarding that, let us know.
Yeah.
D. Linney, last stream you called that DJ Moore and Marshall would finish top 25 this week. I do remember that. So there you go.
You did call this. Yeah.
I remember that too.
I wasn't ready to go out on that limb, so.
I was ready for DJ Moore, not Marshall. So good job. Good job.
Yeah, Terrace Marshall looks pretty good. You want to talk about Terrace Marshall's more interesting than guys like Zay Jones. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least he's young,
Robbie Anderson, bye.
Yep. Wide open opportunity for Terrace Marshall.
Yeah. Alex Watts, after trades, do I keep Jeff Wilson, James Cook, and Tony? Would you drop any? James Cook is a fine drop, and Tony is honestly a fine drop. I'd hold on to Jeff Wilson.
Hold Jeff Wilson. Yep. Cook and Tony are drops for whoever looks to have a little bit more opportunity or production under their belt recently, depending on who's on waivers. But yeah, Cook and Tony are not redraft holds.
Mike, George Pickens stock up, or is that offense bad? Both.
Yeah, both are true. But George Pickens seems to be the apple of Kenny Pickett's eye. He's the guy that you can kind of rely on in this offense as far as getting consistent work. And with Claypool out of the picture, who else are they throwing to other than Pickens and Deontay Johnson and Freiermuth?
Yeah. Not Najee.
Stock up on Pickens. But yeah, the offense is still bad. But I'm still starting Pickens after this week because the Steelers are on bye this week.
Yep. Alex Watts, do I trade Hubbard for A.J. Dillon? Yes. I don't care if you have Jones. I would still do that.
And that makes me want him even more. Just have both. I wouldn't start. You might be able to start Dillon this week. The Lions are pretty bad against the run, but regardless, you have the insurance policy. And Hubbard, Donta Foreman just said this is my backfield this past week. So, yeah, I would. I absolutely would.
And Sad J, good to see you.
What's up, Sad J? He was mad.
You're all good. You're all good.
That's okay. You're allowed to go off. Everyone's allowed to be your reaction. And look, it's true. He fired week 1, and then since then it's been like crickets with Jonathan Taylor this year.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to be upset. You spent at worst or at best a top 2 pick on him. He probably was the first overall pick. And if he wasn't, he was the second overall pick. That comes with high expectations, and he has not met them this year, not even close. So it's fine.
Sit one in standard, I guess, man. If I'm sitting one of them, I guess I don't want to sit Ramondre.
I'm sitting. Who are the Seahawks playing?
I mean, 16 rushes and 8 targets. I don't want to sit Ramondre. I don't want to sit Kenneth Walker. If it's a choice between ETN and Aaron Jones, ETN Las Vegas, Aaron Jones Detroit, I'm
not sitting either of those guys either.
Yeah, but I mean the matchup against Detroit is a lot better than ETN's against Las Vegas.
ETN is officially matchup proof after last week.
All these guys are matchup proof, so you have to choose a guy that isn't matchup.
Right, you're picking a guy who's probably going to fire on your bench. I'm sitting Walker. As much as I love Kenneth Walker, I'm not sitting Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones popped in maybe the toughest matchup of the season for him against a great Bills defense. That's just a reminder, he's still that dude. ETN is that dude. He rips off a 50-yard run every week now. And I'm not sitting Ramondre Stevenson. Even
Aaron Jones, again, I don't want to deliberate too much on one question too much anymore because we got a lot piling up. But the Bills' weakness has always been the running game. Teams just are forced to abandon it because they go pass heavy.
Yeah.
But the Green Bay Packers don't have anybody to go pass heavy to, so they kept running the ball. Like, I think that's why Aaron Jones had such a good game, because if you look at it, the Bills say, hey, beat us on the ground. You're not going to because you need to throw to catch up.
But also, the Bills knew going in, the Packers have one option on offense, and it's Aaron Jones. And
it's just...
I'm not sitting Aaron
honestly,
Jones.
bro, this is preferential.
Poison.
I can't give you one to sit because they're all RB1s.
They're all RB1s. If I had to give you one today, right now, it's Walker, but I don't...
In standard, if I had to give you one, it's ETN, because while I love what ETN did last week, if I have to choose a pass-catching back, and that's not what they are specifically, but you know what I mean, I'm going Aaron Jones over ETN. Walker and Ramondre seem a little bit more like standard plays. If I'm picking a primary pass-catching running back, I'm choosing Aaron Jones, so I'm sitting ETN. Sitting any of those guys isn't going to feel good. But I'm sitting ETN.
Yeah. Okay. We're split there.
Yep. And D. Lenny, Justin Fields is a stream this week.
Pick him up. He's a stream for the next 3 weeks with maybe just staying power for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he's just a starter now.
Yeah. Yep.
Iron, good to see you.
What's up, Iron?
And, Fabian Brady. I just can't get behind it.
Brady is a rock-solid top 25 quarterback for fantasy. I mean that sarcastically.
That's with all of his weapons now.
Yeah, Brady. Yep, that's Mike Evans, fire him up. Chris Godwin, fire him up. Leonard Fournette, fire him up. Brady to the bench.
He'll get you 350 passing yards and no touchdowns. Iron, you lost with Hurts and A.J. Brown.
That's got to be an outlier, man.
Yeah, keep firing him up. You already know.
Yup.
Mike, who or Prescott?
Fields. It's got to be Fields. Cowboys are on bye Cowboys are on bye this week. So
Fields.
Unless you want a 0, play Fields.
Fabian, after what Dan Campbell said about Swift, is Jamal Williams a better play this week over Doubs and DJ Moore? I'm not aware of what he said about DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I don't know what he said. And coach speak is I'm only
he said
so interested.
He thinks DeAndre Swift got too many carries last week.
He can say that all he
wants.
wants.
After a return from injuries. I mean, yeah, they still gave it to him.
Yeah, and Jamal Williams, I think, still scored a touchdown anyway. Right?
Part of that might have to do with the incentives for Swift versus Jamal Williams. But regardless, I'm not reading into it too much. Swift is still an RB1.
I'm not chasing the Dubs production, but I do want to play both DJ Moore and Jamal Williams if I can. But that's, we have all week to kind of sort that out.
Yep. Iron, what do you think I can get for Jeff Wilson plus Bateman in Dynasty? Or would you hodl Jeff Wilson at the moment?
Well, Jeff Wilson got a boost. Bateman's stock is down right now.
I'm not trading away Bateman because I'm not. In Dynasty, I never want to trade. Sell low.
Bateman would be a sell low right
now.
Yes. Wilson buoys that because Wilson is now a sell high.
I would just try to sell Wilson. I wouldn't try to package him with Bateman.
Yeah, try to get I don't know. Depends on your situation. A second round pick if you want some draft capital, or a wide receiver that if you're trying to contend,
or tight end or something like that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
John Alvarez, good to see you. Chase on your IR. You have Nuck, and then it's London and Hardman. Is Josh Palmer better than? Yeah, I mean Josh Palmer's better than Hardman.
Better than anything that may have opened up as a result of trades today. I don't know if he's better than Pickens, but the Steelers are on bye this week, so that doesn't help you. I would play Palmer over. I would probably play Palmer over London, much less Hardman.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you can pick up
Palmer,
drop Hardman, do that right now.
I'm not chasing Hardman scoring 3 touchdowns. I'm not.
We've seen that before.
I'm not doing that. If he continues to ball out the rest of the season, then hats off to Mecole Hardman. But there has been nothing so far in the way of consistency that makes me want to run to the waiver wire to pick up Mecole Hardman.
Yep.
So, yeah, Palmer.
Marco, who do I get for Lenny? I mean, it depends what you need.
Yeah, what do you need?
But look at where my kind of basis is in redraft. Look at where Lenny's been performing in total fantasy points on the year. And look at the other positions you need. Who else has been, if he's
comparable.
RB 16, look to see who's wide receiver 16. And look to see who's around there. Identify guys whose names you like and send a trade.
Mm-hmm.
Patty, I want to have both Mostert and Edmonds, but it's Mostert more than Edmonds right now. So I would rather hold Mostert than try to pick up Edmonds or Hines. But if I can drop somebody else for Edmonds, that's a speculative ad that I don't hate. But I want to hold Mostert.
Yeah. You're not dropping Mostert. Yeah,
and
I'm not picking up Edmonds, and I'm not picking up Hines. No shot. Keep Mostert.
Iron, I'm glad you liked the movie. I still have yet to see it, but I'm glad you liked it.
There you go.
Alex Watts, please rate these players rest of season. PPR, James Cook, Rashad White, Wan'Dale Robinson, Tony, Bateman, Josh Palmer.
Palmer, White, Wan'Dale, and then I totally missed Bateman in there. Tentatively, Bateman remains number 1. Obviously, the injury and the boom bust.
Then Palmer, then Wan'Dale, then
Rashad. Is a
Rashad.
little concern. Palmer, Rashad White, then Wan'Dale, Cook, and Tony are 2 redraft drops.
I'd put Wan'Dale over Rashad because he's getting steady play, and Rashad is still in case of injury to me. Wan'Dale,
I think I would still put
is
Rashad
their de facto 1, even though I don't know what that really means right now. But we're split there, and then James Cook and Tony bring up the rear.
Redraft drops.
Yeah.
I do like Rashad White. I again, the narrative of running backs getting better in the second half of their rookie season.
Agreed.
That can still unfold for him. Catching passes from Tom Brady.
But we're seeing Wan'Dale get better as the season goes on. We have yet to see that narrative play out for Rashad White thus far. So that's why I put Wan'Dale ahead of him, because he's doing shit, and Rashad isn't yet. But I'm still excited for him.
Yeah.
Alex, wild trades. Love to see it.
It's been a good day. The NFL has finally wised up as far as teams make forward-thinking moves. They don't hang on to guys for the sake of hanging on to guys the way they used to 5-10 years ago. It's great to see. Makes it fun.
And CXK, Dynasty 12 team Superflex, 2 tight end, TE premium, and you got offered 2 23 firsts, 1 late and 1 mid-late, and Mooney for Mark Andrews.
He would be acquiring Mark Andrews here. I remember this coming up in the Discord. So he would have to give up the 2 firsts.
That's what I meant. Did I say otherwise?
Sorry, maybe flipped around, but that's okay. I'm just clarifying for you in case you missed it in the Discord. He would be getting Mark Andrews for 2 firsts.
Yeah, that's what I thought I said. My bad.
Okay.
That's probably going rate, especially in a 2 tight end TE preem. Because they're late and mid-late, I don't hate it, because you're getting a top 2 tight end.
And I think he has another 23 first to lean on after this trade. I think you have 3 in total, so 2 would leave you still with 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're competing, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah, me too.
Even if you're not, it's not a bad move. Like, even if you're like middle of the pack, it's not a bad move to get a stud at a position where talent is at a premium.
And
how old is Andrews? He's still like 27.
27, I believe.
I mean, so he's got like Travis Kelce is 33 and still dominating. So it's not inconceivable that Andrews has 5 more years left.
But James, would you start A.J. Dillon or Khalil Herbert? I would go A.J. Dillon against Detroit. That's
this is
just
his last chance.
It's a juicy matchup, about as juicy a matchup as you can get on the ground. Love what Khalil Herbert's been doing, but I'm going A.J. Dillon.
This is his last chance to start for me that for this week, as long as with a healthy Aaron Jones. Is if he does not do it this week against the Lions, then he can't be started unless Jones picks up an injury. But yeah, I agree, Dylan.
Chris Bork, should I trade for Jamal Williams or will his usage shrink with time for Swift to be healthy? You need a running back pretty bad.
I don't think so. Or you could. I don't think his role deteriorates just because DeAndre Swift is gone, because they just traded T.J. Hawkinson.
And you know that Swift comes with injury concerns.
Sure.
And
so, yeah, I would trade
the
for
team
him
likes Jamal Williams, and you won't have to give up an astronomical price for him because Swift is healthy right now. So yeah,
honestly,
he's a perfect buy low running back right now.
Yeah, you might be able to give up a guy like Kadarius Toney for Jamal Williams, or somebody comparable where it's like I have this.
If you have Toney and Pacheco, man, try to get Jamal Williams.
Yeah, sure. You might be able to get Toney straight up.
Could be.
But yeah, that's fine.
And yeah, D-Lin, he's helping out. Love to see it. James Martin, we spoke about Ridley earlier on. Nick is more of the belief that he is going to ball out.
I think he's going to be fine. I have concerns about Trevor Lawrence, and I don't think we see another top 5 perform. I agree. I don't think we see another top 5 performance. I have concerns about Trevor Lawrence. That's just for every Jaguar not named Travis Etienne. And he's had a long layoff. Let's see what he can do. I think he can still put up very strong, maybe high-end wide receiver 2 numbers, but it's going to be hard to project him to finish as a wide receiver 1 going into the 2023 season.
I think he kind of goes back to that 808, like 800 yards, maybe a little more than that, because you have one more game in the year, this played in the league year now, and around 8 touchdowns. Which to me is high-end wide receiver 3 with wide receiver 2 upside.
There you go.
That's where I see Ridley. And Alex, the Bills spent a 3rd-round pick on Cook.
Why did I think it was a 2nd-round pick?
No, they spent Devin Singletary, 3rd-round pick. The following year, Zach Moss, 3rd-round pick. Then 2 years later, it was James Cook's 2nd-round pick.
63rd. That's the end of the 2nd round.
For Zach Moss?
Or sorry, for James Cook. James Cook.
Oh, yeah. No.
James Cook was a 2nd round.
Yeah, Zach Moss isn't.
No, not Zach Moss. Did I read wrong? They spent a 2nd-round pick on James Cook.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the highest draft capital they spent on a running back since C.J. Spiller in 2010.
Yeah. But that being said, for redraft purposes, Cook is a drop.
He's a drop, and Hines isn't necessarily an ad unless you're hoping for Cole Beasley type usage. And even that, probably a stretch.
Probably not going to happen.
Tony feels like a 2023 stud. I think he's a 2023 player. I don't even know if he's a 2023 stud. I think stud next to Tony, like that's just wishful thinking at this point. We got to see him play. He needs to be healthy and playing. Right now, Tony feels like Sammy Watkins to me. A ton of talent, a ton of physical attributes, not putting it all together.
Never put it all
together. And maybe never will.
At least Sammy had a really good season early on in his career.
Yeah. Tony only has one really good game.
Tony had one game. Yeah. We'll see.
Yep. Jonathan
Miles.
Miles.
A great situation, but
yeah, it is. Jonathan Miles, is Christian Kirk worth starting? Absolutely, every week.
Yeah, I mean, I think
unless
you have
better
to
pieces, but he's
right,
a wide receiver too every week.
Yeah, like that's the $1 million question. Who are you putting in over him? I know it's been 3 of the past 4 weeks. It's been a struggle, right? This past week, 3 catches, 40 yards, but he had 7 targets. The week before, 7 catches, 96 yards on 10 targets. Week 6, I think. Yeah, week 6, only 4 catches, 24 yards, but he scored. He bailed you out with a touchdown. Like it ranges between wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3 production. Who are you starting over him? That's the thing.
I look at his target distribution this year: 12 week 1, 9 week 3, 9 week 4, 7 week or 10 week 7, 7 week 8. Like,
right, nobody's touching that as far as the other wide receivers in the Jacksonville offense.
So he's worth starting for me because I chase those targets for wide receivers.
Yeah. Yep.
And John Alvarez, there you go.
Boom.
Jesus Christ of the league.
What's up, Jesus?
Would you trade Justin Jefferson for CeeDee Lamb and Dameon Pierce? Yeah. It's tough moving on from Justin Jefferson, but they're bringing in Hawkinson, who should get a little bit more passing down work. So very, very little slight, if any, really, downgrade to Justin Jefferson. But CD is still a top 12 wide receiver now as his quarterback back, and Dameon Pierce has been an RB1 since he's been given a full-time workload. So for a wide receiver 1, you're getting a lesser wide receiver 1 and an RB1. I like that.
Yeah. Doesn't feel good to part with Jefferson, but
that's what you got to do. Yeah.
But for that, probably worth it. Probably worth it.
And yeah, D. Lenny, it's just, they wanted a guy for winning right now, not a guy that they needed to spend all year training up, which is fine to me. Mm-hmm. Nick Perrone, rank Jimmy G, Jared Goff, and Fields, please. Rest of season,
I think I still have to give it to Jimmy G because of his weapons. But Fields is right on his heels because of his rushing upside.
I'd put Fields first.
Goff. You would put Fields first?
I would put Fields first. And then Jimmy G and then Goff.
I think I would go Jimmy G right now and then Fields. But it's close. It's not like a big gap. And then Goff. Goff lost Hawkinson today. So by the nature of the beast, I have to put him third. Whereas Fields acquired a wide receiver. Jimmy G now has Christian McCaffrey. Those guys are, let's put it this way. Goff is, unfortunately for him, he's third. Fields and Jimmy G are fine streamers in the short and long term.
And I think Goff is still an all right stream.
Yeah,
it's just not somebody you want to be relying on. But
no, and these two guys, they leapfrogged him in the ranks.
Yep. And then we got our first Donta Foreman question. Jonathan asks, is Donta Foreman a must-start at this point? With no Chuba Hubbard, I mean, pretty close to it.
Depends on your other options, but I mean, yeah.
He's a great bye-week fill-in.
Right. I mean, if you're loaded at running back, then he probably needs to stay on your bench. But if you're not, then absolutely he's a must-start. Like,
I had to bench him because I had Saquon, Tony Pollard, and Ramondre Stevenson, so I had to bench him. But, I mean, if you don't have 3 options ahead of him, then, yeah, he's a must-start. Great player to have. Good pickup. Tim Shields, Seattle defense or Colts?
Seattle's on the road in Indianapolis. The Colts are on the road in New England. I guess by default, the Colts.
Colts have a better matchup.
Yeah, Seattle's been playing a lot better though recently. To be fair, to their credit.
Colts.
I gotta think about that one. Come back, Tim. I hate to punt it, but come back to me on Saturday. I gotta do my homework on these defenses over the course of the week.
And early prediction for the 101 next year: Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, are we talking? Oh, I defaulted to Dynasty. The 101 in redraft next year is Christian McCaffrey.
It's usually a running back, and he projects to be in a great situation next year, just like this year.
Jefferson will be in the conversation. Stephon Diggs will be in the conversation.
Cup, it will if he keeps it up.
Austin Eckler. I don't know if Derrick Henry is in the 101 conversation next year, but he might
Saquon,
be.
yeah.
Saquon, yeah. Chubb.
But I expect it to be CMC.
Probably McCaffrey. Dynasty, Bijan Robinson.
Or Jelani Woods. Elout, what's happening?
Hey.
D. Lenny, if you need to stream a tight end, likely the top option this week.
Top option.
Could be.
Yeah, I mean, if Andrews is still banged up, then, well, I mean, I don't know if he's a stream anymore, but it might be Dulcich. But yeah.
I'd rather play Dulcich than Likely. Absolutely.
But Likely is looking like a good option. Bateman's going to miss time. Andrews banged up. Yeah. He looks good.
Priority add and stream. He's still a dart throw, kind of a desperation guy, but he is the priority add of the desperation guys. He's breaking case of emergency. But if I need a guy like that, he's the first guy I'm looking for. Fabian, start 2. We kind of already gave you this. We would say DJ Moore and Jamal Williams.
The last two. Yep.
And D. Lenny, we would agree on Juwan Johnson.
Who are the Saints playing? Because Juwan did not...
he didn't do much.
He didn't do much, but also I don't think he needed to. The Saints kind of boat raced the Raiders. The Raiders stink, man.
The Saints are playing the Ravens Monday night.
Okay. At home, sure. You can go back to that well one more time. Ravens are a much better competition than Vegas right now.
I did not see the Cooks tweet. What was the Cooks tweet?
He's not happy. He's not happy. Don't take a man's kindness for granted. Covered for the lies for too long. Those days are done. Cross the line with playing with my career. Quote unquote.
Facts.
Oh, it's clearly a shot at somebody in Houston's management or front office, if not multiple people in their front office.
Easterby or whatever his name is. And
he got fired. He got fired.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think Cooks had a good relationship with that guy, Jack Easterby. He got fired. Cooks
Who's there now
him.
then? Jeez.
I don't actually even know who they promoted in his place, but it's an interim GM.
Yeah, it doesn't
interim
really matter.
Front office.
Sucks for Cooks.
The Houston wanted a team to absorb, I think, most, if not all, of Cooks' $18 million salary that he is owed next season. They probably also wanted really good draft capital on top of that. Teams were balking, so Houston didn't move him because they're an inept organization. But also, if you're the Packers, and George, you say you're a Packers fan. If you're okay with the not move, then you're okay with the not move. What are the Packers doing? They brought.
If I was a Packers fan, I would be very angry that they
I'd
didn't
be flipping
do
tables,
anything.
Because I know now for a fact that this season is a waste. You're wasting a twilight season of Aaron Rodgers. The Packers aren't doing anything this year.
And honestly, you want to feel good about your quarterback after he's gone. How many Green Bay Packers fans are really going to feel great about Aaron Rodgers post Aaron Rodgers if he just continues to just suck and make weird comments in the media and kind of alienate him?
I don't even know if it's Rodgers. His offensive skill.
Oh no, it's a lot of things, but
sure, it's a lot of things, but I don't know if it's an Aaron Rodgers performance thing.
Oh no, I'm not alluding to that.
Okay.
I'm alluding to the taste of being of him with the Packers fan base. Like I got family in Wisconsin. To a T, all of them used to love Aaron Rodgers. They're now trashing him. Like every chance they get. Like my parents hate on him. My grandma hates on my grandma. My 95-year-old grandma. Last time I spoke to her, we were talking about AJ Dillon because she loves AJ Dillon. And she was like, "Oh, but that Aaron Rodgers," and old 95-year-old voice. Like,
right.
Packers fans ain't happy. They don't like him right now. So, him.
What's to like about this team?
Exactly. Just make a move for your fan base.
Right. Or what? Why
make
are they
an empty move? Throw 18 mil at Cooks just to make a move. Do something.
I know it's a lot of money. But have the Packers ever met a transaction they weren't scared of? I feel like
I would hate to be a Packers fan.
I feel like the Packers are scared. And look, they have a sustained track record of fantastic season after fantastic season with Aaron Rodgers. They regularly rip off 11, 12, 13 wins. They're regularly a top seed in the NFC,
and we regularly talk about them at the end of
Sure.
every fantasy NFL season. Like, they left some shit on the table.
The
organization left some shit on the table, whether that's the front office. It's just.
And now you're kind of middling through this season with a now injured Alan Lazard, who has been good. He has been good, to his credit. Romeo Doubs is making some plays as a 4th-round rookie. Christian Watson remains a project who has been in and out of the lineup due to injuries and inconsistent play. And Sammy Watkins is not really giving you a whole lot at this point in his career, and he himself has been injured. Like, what were the Packers planning to do this year? Were they planning to compete? Because nobody was taking this offense seriously in the offseason. And now it's all come to fruition. And the defense is not close to as good as what you were hoping for. That was what you were probably trying to hang your hat on as a Packers fan. The defense being good. They've been okay. And now you're not even the best team in your division.
Look, the highest paid wide receiver on that team is Randall Cobb.
I forgot.
$4 million for Randall Cobb.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, something is wrong there. If you have Aaron Rodgers at age 40 or whatever, however old he is, and you got Aaron Jones and you brought him back and he's 27 going on 28 very soon, you're in win now mode. And if you're not going to operate as such, and your highest paid wide receiver, which is how you win the game right now, it's not through running backs. It's not through having a great 1-2 punch on the ground. It's through wide receivers. If your highest paid wide receiver is Randall Cobb at $4 million and you don't do anything at the deadline, I'm not even saying they needed to go and get Brandon Cooks.
No, it didn't have to be Cooks. It could have been Claypool.
Yeah.
Could have been Claypool.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
They could have spent a 2nd-round pick.
I hope you're not as mad as I would be if I was in your situation.
If you're happy with the moves and I know that, and they don't have the cap space to absorb Brandon Cooks, fine. Then that's fine. That's just sometimes how the cookie crumbles. Especially when you pay a quarterback the amount of money that Aaron Rodgers is getting paid, then there's less room. Again, hence why Devontae Adams got traded. They didn't have the money for other pieces. But then it's like, at what cost? Do you make that move? Do you make that decision to sign Aaron Rodgers to the deal that you signed him? Now you're a little bit kind of hamstrung. I don't know.
I want to keep deliberating about this. We do have a large amount of questions in the chat still, and we haven't really sped up at all. That's on me because I just went on a huge diatribe there.
We did. Yeah, we both.
JM. I would rather have AJ Brown, not really even close.
Yeah.
Bengals could be a shootout. We'll see. Greg Z. I'm glad we could help. And I would play Bass over those guys too. But I'm a Bills fan, so I would play Bass over most. I might play
Koo. Bass, I have a hard... Bass is rock solid. Bass is good. The problem is...
They're not... Yeah. They're not going for it.
Bills go for it on 4th down. They don't settle for field goals. They see 4th and 6 from their own 45... From the opponent's 45-yard line and say, fuck this. We're going for these... We're going to get 6 yards right now. So that's the thing with Bass. It's not his fault.
And I'd rather have Terrace Marshall rest the season.
What's up, Riley? Yeah, I think I'd rather... look, Van, it's hard to try... it's hard to take with a grain of salt the fact that Van did absolutely nothing in his first game back, but that offense is broken right now. At least PJ Walker is going out there just slinging it, nothing to lose mentality. I think, I'd rather have Marshall. And I don't know that Van Jefferson beats out Ben Skowronek. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing his name, but you know who I'm talking about. Like, he might be just sharing snaps with that guy.
Yeah.
Marshall.
Yep. And Dirko,
I think I think Dirko's having some issues getting his questions coming through again, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I'm still only
Sorry,
seeing
Dirko.
this is the first question here, and we didn't see any others.
If you repost, we'll get to it right away. Oh, he may have already.
But
Dirko. Yeah.
Honestly, man, like you might be getting different advice from Nick. If I have Higgins, I'm not trying to upgrade to Chase, even in Dynasty.
Oh, there it is. Higgins to end of first next year for Chase. No.
Yeah, and even if it's Higgins, Ayuk, and a 23-second for Chase, that might seem like it's not that much.
I'm not. Yeah.
But I mean, the difference when you really look at it, the difference between Higgins and Chase isn't all that much. And you're giving up a wide receiver 2, a young wide receiver 2, and a second in a good year for, to move up 2 to 3 spots in your dynasty rankings at wide receiver. Because I think Higgins and Chase are real close. D. Linney likes the Chiefs D this week. Pair them with the Ravens if you're into rostering 2 defenses. Solid.
Yeah.
And Alex, Dak is on bye. Who do you drop? Tony.
Yeah, Tony.
Don't don't play that game and try to win without a kicker. Just drop Tony.
Yep.
And Tim, go for Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, don't go Hines. Don't go Hines.
And Joshua Rodriguez. You have Kelsey.
This was from earlier. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not remembering the question.
I'll see if I can go find it. If you want to keep moving.
Henderson, Eno, Sanders, Kelsey.
Oh, that was the Justin, or that was, we ultimately said don't trade Jonathan Taylor because you're 5-3 with Taylor.
Yeah.
Well, if you have Kelsey, that's why you're 5-3.
So keep it rolling.
Yeah, keep it rolling.
D. Lenny giving some advice. Love to see it.
Yeah. I agree. I think we all agree.
Yep.
Terrace.
Alex, the best quarterbacks on waivers are Mariota, Heineke, Mills, and Mac Jones.
Mariota, screw it. I mean, he runs around. They finally opened up the offense, and even if they don't
Heineke
throw
hasn't
it a
been
ton,
bad either.
Nah, but give me Mariota because at least they opened things up on offense this past week, and he can run too.
True. I just want to see what. Yeah, I mean Heineke, 18 points and 25 points in his last 2 starts.
Yeah.
Heineke's a little bit of a stream too, man.
Who's Washington playing this week?
Minnesota.
Where is that game? Is it at home?
At Washington.
All right, then yeah, I guess Heineke. I guess. Well, who are the Falcons playing? Let me see before Mariota's at home against the Chargers. Could be a shootout.
Either or, we're split there.
Yeah, it could go either way, but either one should be fine. Either one should be fine. I worry about Heineke. We've seen him bottom out before after having some good performances.
Could say the same thing about Mariota. So it's really dependent on your preference.
Yeah.
Nemo, I hope so.
Oh, those are the okay.
Yep. Michael Bernardo, standard league. Would you trade Kamara, Diggs, and Amari Cooper for Kupp, Kelsey, and Swift? Yeah, depending on your running backs, but yeah, if that doesn't leave you with a hole where Kamara used to be, then sure. Actually, you're getting Swift, Diggs for Kupp, Amari for Kelsey.
That's the upgrade.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah, I would do that trade. Yeah, Michael, I would do that trade. If I can acquire Kelsey, then hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And Jay, full PPR, start 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. You have Kupp, Diggs, D-Hop, A.J. Brown, and D-Hop and Mixon, and Pierce and Lenny. Do you trade D-Hop or A.J. Brown for ETN? Mixon, Pierce, and Lenny? I don't think you need to.
Yeah, I don't think you need to.
Kupp, Diggs, D-Hop, and A.J. Brown. You got an embarrassment of riches. Good job, but I think I'm chilling.
Yeah, I think I'm good. As long as your record is solid, which I have to imagine it is.
Kupp, Diggs, and Brown, and Mixon, Pierce, and Lenny, you're probably like 6-1, dude.
Stick with what you have.
Yeah, you're good. D. Lenny, we agree. And Alex, Rondale Moore or Bateman rest of season? This is actually a question, and I never thought we'd be here.
I mean,
depends if Bateman can get healthy, man.
It depends on what you need. I mean, yeah, it is. This is a question that is dependent on your situation. Are you 6-1? Are you 5-2? Bateman. Are you 3-5? Then you probably need Rondale.
Yeah. Agreed. Fabian, is Wan'Dale the clear wide receiver 1 for the Giants? Nothing is clear with the Giants, so I can't say that definitively.
I don't know. He had a very quiet week this past
Darius
week.
Slayton's looking pretty good.
Slayton might be their wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
I mean, Wan'Dale just had 2 catches for 15 yards. I know he had a couple of really solid weeks the past 2 weeks prior to this one, but like, is he their wide receiver 1? I can't say that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Michael thinks the same thing. Wan'Dale's the slot guy.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah. Elout, Eckler said he'd recommend to pick up Palmer as well.
Eckler's a real one. Austin Eckler loves fantasy football.
He loves fantasy football, and he's all about giving back to charity. So 2 things that I'm about. So
Eckler's a real one. Yep. I will never not root for Austin Eckler.
Nope.
You know, if I'm literally against him in my matchup, that's one thing. But Eckler's a very easy.
No, even then, I hope he gets his. I just hope I get more.
Right. I just hope I get more. But yeah, he's very easy to root for. He's a lot of fun to watch too.
Dominic S. Should I trade Debo for Swift and Jamal Williams?
You're getting both of them? Sure.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, as long as your wide receivers are fine, if you're not downgrading to a bunch of wide receiver 3s, then yeah, you're getting both. Sure. Especially because he's on bye right now.
Yo,
and he's hurt.
Riley, what's the Steelers OC doing? Is that Canada?
That Matt Canada being an ass.
Man, disregard whatever he says. He's an idiot.
That's an olive branch of the Steelers front office having spent a first-round pick on Najee Harris, which, no disrespect to Najee Harris, it's not his fault he was made a first-round pick, but that looks like a clear mistake.
It always is.
It always is to spend that high on a
giving that high draft capital. I don't care if you're Bijan Robinson. Giving that how much draft capital to a running back? Nah.
Not smart for an NFL franchise.
And then giving out the huge contract to a running back? Nah.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's the Steelers trying to. It's the same thing as Jerry Jones saying, "Well, we're going right back to Zeke."
It's that old school thinking because that's how they've won, in the 90s.
Well, it's just you're saying that type of shit. Like Jerry says, we're going right back to Zeke even after Tony Pollard's big game because you stupidly gave him a gigantic contract and you are still going back to the well trying to justify it. Just like the Steelers are saying, say nice things about Najee because we spent a first-round pick on him. It's just front office incompetence.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what it is. Screw Matt Canada.
And Sad J, hope it works out as well. D. Lenny, yeah, Calvin Austin can't count on him this year.
Where did he go? Where did he end up? I forget.
IR.
Oh, and he's on the Steelers. Right.
Yep.
Well, yeah, should be. I mean, he gets his opportunity next year. Could be a good buy low in Dynasty. Not a buy low. Could be a buy in Dynasty.
And Jacob Brandon Cooks was basically having his worst year as a pro. It's a worst healthy year as a pro.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's on him at this point.
Yeah, it's not.
At this point, if I was having the year that he was having and my team did not trade me at the deadline, like maybe they had promised they would or whatever, I'm checking out.
Yep.
So if I'm Brandon Cooks, I'm checking out because I'm good. So if I have Brandon Cooks, it's kind of tough. I think he's going to continue to be a wide receiver, 3 for the rest of the year. Which is maybe where you drafted him but not what you expected him to be.
I would be worried about him. And I am worried about him because now his head is he's feeling like he got screwed out of an opportunity to go to a contender, go to a better situation. Davis Mills himself was asked about Brandon Cook's involvement in the offense, and he said something like, the philosophy changed. We have a really good running back in the backfield, and we're running the ball a lot. For better or worse, whether you agree with it or not. Yeah, I am worried about Brandon Cooks. I'm not sure his head is going to be in the right space rest of season after this. I don't know what the team has plans for as far as him moving. He's a 29-year-old wide receiver on a team with 1 win. Do they start a youth movement? Whether
I think they already have, but even so, they're still throwing him out there.
And
If they were starting a youth movement, they would have moved him. Like, I am
worried about it the rest of the
situation.
season. He is a no ceiling wide receiver 3, which for a player like him probably needs to stay on your bench moving forward. You can't cut him, but you can't play him.
And Nemo, as far as the defenses go, Miami D or Minnesota, both very solid plays this week. We'll deliberate on that more moving forward. But Miami versus Chicago and Minnesota versus Washington. Seattle, I don't know. But I like Miami or Minnesota this week. Jack Kiefer, should I trade Herbert for Amon-Ra now that I have Fields and desperately need wide receiver depth? Sure. Yeah, if you have Herbert or if you have Fields, I'm all right with that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, if you can do it, yeah.
Ray Gamer, should I trade Geno, Fournette, and Higgins for Kyler Murray, Debo, and Swift? You're getting the right side. So Kyler, Debo, and Swift.
For Geno, Fournette, and Higgins? Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Kyler is putting together a very good season.
You're buying low on Debo right now.
Debo's up. Yeah, right. And Swift, I would prefer if somebody offered me DeAndre Swift for my Leonard Fournette, I think I would say yes.
Yeah, I'd do that.
Yeah, so go ahead, Ray, make that trade. Nicely done. Okay, and then with Cooks, look, I know it was maybe tough to move, but also that's just incompetence by the Houston front office. You got to be willing to cave a little bit to actually get something of value. If you wanted the second round pick, you have to pay the salary.
There's no way a 29-year-old wide receiver
you have to pay it.
Was you were getting both of those things.
Houston is in it.
Either take the salary or push for the second and retain the salary. Like, you're not going to get both for a 29-year-old wide receiver who hasn't been performing all that well this year. It's all the way stupid. It's
front office incompetence by a front office that is regularly incompetent in Houston. Yeah, they're a terribly run organization. No disrespect to Texans fans. If we have any in here, you root for your team, you root for a squad. I respect it. You root for a team that has a bad front office.
Ray. Geno and Higgins for Debo and Kyler, I would still do to get Kyler and Debo, but I like the deal more with Swift and Fournette.
Yeah, if you can make it. If they say no and it's it's that original one, then I would agree.
I'd still do it.
Say yes. Yep.
Jacob Ander, what should our expectations be for Cordell Patterson when he comes back? RB or wide receiver 2?
With upside.
Yeah.
I mean, he fits perfectly to their offensive philosophy.
I guess RB2 now because he is strictly a running back, but still RB2 with upside.
But he's going to catch a lot of passes like out of the backfield. That might be what gets the Falcons throwing the ball a little bit more is his return. Wheels up. Like, I have no concerns about Patterson coming back. The second he's active and cleared and off the injury report, he's in your lineup.
Yeah.
He's in your lineup.
Agreed. And Delaney, most trades mid-season in NFL history. Yeah, it's cool to see.
This is awesome. Like, welcome to the 21st century, NFL. It's good to see you.
About time.
Yeah.
And Ray was 1-4 before making trades, and now he's 4-4.
There you go. That's how you bounce back.
Like to see it. Love to see it. Love to see it. Keep going. One game at a time, man.
If you have one game at a defense already, just keep them in there.
Yep.
I would. If I have them already, I would just keep them in there.
And Durko, we really don't know. I mean, it's not happening for anybody else as far as we know. After this stream, I'll see if I can reset some things. But really, after last week and the computer like crashing and burning, I went through a lot of that with the reset up. So I don't know why it's continuing to do that now, because I just reset everything. But we can go back and take a look. Unfortunately, you're saying it doesn't even show up on our screen board, which is how you know it's YouTube. It's not us. So I don't know. But let us know any of your questions that we might have missed, and we'll get to them. Rate game or pickup?
Sorry,
I guess that's Wandale Moore. Or
Yeah,
Rondale Moore or Dubs. I'd rather Rondale.
Yeah, I'd rather have Rondale.
And Harrison Butker or John Carlson this week. Harrison Butker.
I would go Carlson. Carlson's been
or Daniel Carlson.
He's been the kicker one prior to last week. Chalk it up to a bad week, which happens to everybody. I'm going back to the well with Carlson.
I wasn't aware of that because I'm not the kicker whisperer. But there you go.
He's K1 on the season. I would go back to that well.
There you go.
I'll defer. Back to that well. Yeah.
By the time the playoffs arrive, why can't Tony be the best receiving option for Kansas City? Hey, he could be. We're just not betting on it because he should have been by far and away the best receiving option for the Giants over the last 2 seasons, and clearly that hasn't been the case. But because they were willing to basically say, sit out on the bench, and we're going to trade you at the deadline or before the deadline. Like that doesn't happen for a team that just invested a first-round pick in their own right in him just a year ago. Can he be the best receiving option? Sure, I'm not betting on it at all.
And learning the playbook, getting caught up to speed of a complicated Andy Reid offense. I'm just not banking on that.
And
I'm not banking on that.
Durko, what I would say is, if just for the time being, when you throw in a message on here, just throw it on Discord too, so we can start matching up the time stamps on them, and worst comes to worst, if we see your messages aren't coming in, we can pop over to Discord and read the full thing. And I know that's more work for you. Sorry again that this is happening, but that would be the one thing that I would suggest.
Yeah, join the Discord, Durko. If you're not, I don't think Durko's in there. I don't think so, unless you have a different username in there. But yeah, do that, and then we can help out. Yep, that's a good idea. Third link in the description of this video, Durko, if you want to join up.
And D Linney, I didn't know that Hines' best player comp is on Player Profiler is CJ Spiller.
Wow.
I always liked CJ Spiller, but he was never the best running back on this squad.
He had 1 year, right?
He had 1 year, and then Fred Jackson was still just like, yo, sit down.
Was like, hey.
And we had the 1 year after they traded away Marshawn Lynch, and then Marshawn Lynch became beast mode because he really wasn't before then. And then he had one season,
Fred Jackson,
where he had like 900 yards. It wasn't even like a full 1,000 yard CJ Spiller season, and then it was Fred Jackson time.
I thought he hit 1,000, but either way, yeah, Fred Jackson was just like, I'm the king of NFL Europe, and now here I am. So, that's how I assumed the conversation went.
Yeah, basically. All right, he did have one 1,000 yard season.
I was gonna say
in 2012. But yeah, it was one of those Jamal Charles type seasons where he wasn't utilized all that much. He just had insane efficiency, so his numbers looked great. But he averaged over 6 yards per carry that year, and then never did again. Chevy, you're dropping Bateman. You have AJ Brown, I think that's AJ Brown, Cooper Myers, and Hollywood. You need to add a wide receiver. Curtis Samuel, Darnell Mooney, or Josh Palmer. Well, if I can play everybody this week, like if I can play a lineup this week, like Myers, Cooper, and AJ, then I'm keeping Bateman because I still believe in Bateman. But if I get to the point where like I need to drop somebody to pick somebody up to play them in my active roster spot, then for me, out of those options, it's Josh Palmer for this week.
Yeah, for this week. Rest of season, it's Curtis Samuel.
Yes.
But in the interim, while Mike Williams is out, I agree. I'm fine with Palmer.
But if I can play everybody, if I can start a lineup right now, I'm not dropping Bateman.
Yeah.
And Dulcich was on bye. Got you. My bad.
Oh, right. They just played in London. Yeah. So, although there were a couple teams earlier in the season who didn't have a bye week after London. That feels like malpractice, but
Aaron Cruz, full PPR, you have Diggs, Higgins, St. Brown, Derrick Henry, Eckler, Hurts. Do I trade Donta Foreman, Tua, and Jacoby Myers for Dameon Pierce?
That's too much.
Slightly too much. Who is like, I'm fine with Foreman and Myers and a little bit more for Pierce, but Tua is, you know, I mean, he's a top 8 wide quarterback right now.
Tua's a QB1. And if he's your guy in one quarterback, I'm not moving him. You could try Myers and Foreman. I would be fine with rolling the dice on that. If you believe, like, well, maybe Chuba Hubbard comes back and Donta Foreman doesn't do Donta Foreman things, like, as long as Chuba's in the lineup. But
yeah.
But also, if I can't get a deal done offering Foreman and Myers, then it's like I'm perfectly content keeping because you have Derrick Henry, you have Austin Eckler, like, you've got your anchors at running back, and you have a great pickup in Foreman. If you can turn Foreman and Myers into Dameon Pierce with those wide receivers that you got, then sure, fine.
Honestly, yo, what I would try to do is trade Derrick Henry for Dameon Pierce and then upgrade Myers.
And an upgrade.
You know,
sure.
then package Myers in there and then upgrade that to a startable wide receiver 2. You know what I mean? So try to move from a position of strength to a position of what should continue to be a strength for you. If you can move from Derrick Henry to Dameon Pierce, hold Eckler, and get better at the Jacoby Myers spot, that's a win for you. Get better at the Donta Foreman spot, that's a win for you. So try that. D-Laney, very interesting. You got all the insider information. Still mind-boggling that they didn't get anything done. Uncle Tom, do I give Pollard and Thielen for Josh Jacobs in PPR? Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm missing where. Oh, I got it. Do I give Pollard and Thielen for Josh Jacobs? Yeah.
Do it.
That's fine. As long as you're, as long as you're not giving up like as long as you have like, another wide receiver to turn to in Thielen. But yeah, I mean, Jacobs, despite the bad performance this past week, is an RB1.
Dude, the Bears have done nothing but make moves at wide receiver. N'Keal Harry.
Dude, at least they're trying.
Equinemius St. Brown, they stole a wide receiver from the Packers.
They might have stolen
Velus Jones, like Chase Claypool, like the Bears are operating like they're the Packers should be. Just try everything and see what sticks.
At least they're trying. You can't fault the Bears for not trying, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, they might have stolen another wide receiver from the Packers today with the Claypool trade.
And were the Packers almost a lock for Claypool and the Bears swooped in? I didn't know that. I don't know that. But it's crazy they didn't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, are they trying this year or not? I guess they're not.
Then have a backup plan. Like, okay, Claypool didn't work. Cooks didn't work.
Yeah.
Then, like, I don't know.
You be the guys that go in on Tony, like Kadarius Toney, Green Bay. But he might not be a culture fit for them or whatever. I don't know. I'm done talking about the Packers, but they feel like they're pretty inept right now.
No, very much.
They're not competing with Aaron Rodgers in his twilight. Let's put it that way. Seems like a bad recipe.
It's dumb. It's really dumb. Yeah. CXK, I'm glad you like the channel, and I'm glad that we are a help to you.
CXK.
Much appreciated. And Durko, yeah, we still don't advocate that. Sorry again, you're having those issues. Mike, your phone died. What did we say? A lot. Prescott or Fields rest of the way?
Prescott or Fields. Prescott's on bye, so.
But rest of the way? Prescott or Fields? I don't know, bro.
Rest of the way, I'll give it to Dak. But for this week, you have to play Fields. I'll give Dak the benefit of the doubt because he's got bona fide skill players to throw the ball to.
Dak ceiling plays. Fields has a floor that, I mean, at this point, pretty unimpeachable. Mm-hmm. He's basically got a 17 to 18 point floor, and he's hitting in the 20s every week of the past 3 weeks. Yeah. Dak just also comes with 40-point upside. So Fields floor, Dak ceiling. William Risky, do I use my third waiver claim on Terrace Marshall? Your RBs are hurting, but you're shot at wide receiver 2 and 3 this week without Bateman. And your other options of Deontay scare you.
Or maybe other than. I mean, what's your whole situation? I think we need a little extra context here. If you feel like Marshall is your
who are your running backs that are hurting
help you the most?
And do you think
yeah.
and can you just can you wait until waivers are done and pick up scragglers and piecemeal it together at wide receiver or running back? Who's out there? None. We can help you make a little bit more informed of a decision here.
Mm-hmm.
But ideally, no. The first waiver claim I throw out won't be on Terrace Marshall.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by him, but yeah.
It's Rondale Moore this week. It's Garrett Wilson this week. But
yeah.
Alex, 3 and 5 PPR, Rondale or Bateman? I mean, this week it's Rondale.
Well, Bateman's not playing.
Yeah, you have to.
So rest of season for you, I mean, if this is over the next few weeks, Rondale's more valuable to you because you need wins.
But I still think Bateman can come back and get back to boom-bust wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
Maybe he's more of a boom-bust wide receiver 3, but I think he can still get back to 2. Your Dynasty League has a 7-year carryover pot, and the first to win back-to-back championships takes the pot. Isn't that an Empire League?
You add money on top of the league buy-in. How do you what constitutes? I'm curious. How do you end up? Is that just that's on top of what you pay for the buy-in? You just automatically throw more money in for the.
Yeah, I think that's called. I think it's called an Empire League because you legitimately have to have an Empire 2 back-to-back seasons in order to win the whole thing.
That's pretty cool.
It is cool.
I like that.
Nemo, Raven should have made a trade for a wide receiver. Hope Lamar doesn't become A-Rod. Bro, the more I look at them too, I think 2023 wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, they did a great, they made a great pick. I know they traded Hollywood Brown, but they got their center for the next decade, which was a key piece for them to fill. But yeah, they should have been, I guess, I don't know. There should have been another move made somewhere else.
Yep.
And they didn't do that.
No, I expect them to get a wide receiver in next year's draft. Sideline Star, thanks for joining us. Someone dropped Bateman. Thoughts on him rest of season? And Pacheco or Hines? Who should I prioritize on waivers? I'm prioritizing Bateman, but between Pacheco and Hines, it's Pacheco.
Bateman. As long as you're in good shape with your record, then Bateman. He should be, as long as he can come back healthy. Yeah, he's got boom bust wide receiver 2 potential. The foot injury is a concern. He re-aggravated it, so he's going to miss another 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks. So you're not going to have him for a month. If you're 3 and 5, if you're 2 and 6, he's probably not somebody you want to pick up. You got to let somebody else who has a better record take him because you need guys now.
Yeah,
you need guys now. A hurt guy now isn't going to help you at the end of the season if you miss the playoffs. So if you're sitting pretty record-wise, Bateman. If you're not, Pacheco.
Yep. And Durko, join the Discord, man. And even not for this issue, you can pop in there at any point in time and get some help on whatever questions you have from the people that are just active in the Discord or Nick or whatever. So, Elout. Tony, basically, hey, everybody in here, Kadarius Toney is a drop.
Yeah.
For whatever you need this week. If you're thinking about playing him, you are chasing one game out of not even just 17 last year, but you have to account for the 7 that he's missed, or the 5 that he's missed this year, 2 that he played and didn't do anything.
Yeah, one game out of like what, 25 opportunities?
Yeah,
to this
24
point?
opportunities. He has one game.
Yeah, Next year, sure. This year, I'm not. Nah.
Yeah.
Next year, I'll take a chance. This year, no.
Yeah, it's a 10-man league. You definitely don't need to be rostering Tony in a 12.
If we're wrong, then we're wrong. Like, kudos to Tony if he proves us wrong. That's a roll of the dice. I'll let somebody else take. Not buying in. Despite the great situation and the greener pastures, I'm not chasing it.
And Lynn wins. What's happening, man? Tony in my flex right now, but I don't know if I ride him or not. Should I go Jim Marshall or Van Jefferson? Is that T Marshall? I don't know who you mean there.
Where am I looking at this? Or I'm
Lynn
not.
wins.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. I just got it. Hunt, Murray, Gallup, Bateman are out. Yep. Tony flex. Yeah. Is that?
If it's Terrence Marshall, I'm playing Terrence Marshall over Tony this week.
Yeah.
If it's Van Jefferson, depending on what happens with Cooper Kupp, I'm playing him over Tony this week. I do not believe in Tony.
No. I don't either. Sorry, Tony. Maybe
so I'm playing anybody over Tony. I'm playing anybody pretty much over Tony, except people that are projected to get 0 points.
We also don't even know, like, we haven't even started practice yet. Like, we don't know if Tony's even, like, apparently he's healthy, but is he, like, ready to play? I don't know. Is he ready to play? Is he ready to have a role in this offense? Like, we need to wait at least a week.
I mean, playbook was something he needed to catch up on, and now he's going to a team with one of the more complicated playbooks in the NFL and an Andy Reid offense. So it's going to take him a while.
Players, like established players well ahead of him as far as experience with the, pedigree, rapport with Mahomes, experience in the offense. They're up to speed as far as
remember when the
regular,
Chiefs,
consistent NFL action. Like, there's no way.
Remember when the Chiefs brought in Lev Bell and people got hyped? And then the Chiefs brought in Josh Gordon and people got hyped. And then the Chiefs drafted Justin Ross and people got hyped.
Yeah.
He is the next person in that line of people you got hyped for that likely won't do anything. I'm sorry. I'm not in on Tony.
You're playing with fire, and that's a losing battle. Like, we need to wait at least 1 week, and that's probably not enough time.
And Patrick Haas thinks he's self-sabotaged. You still have Hurts, Diggs, Jefferson, A.J. Brown, solid, but ended up trading Herbert and Carter for Dillon, and you dropped Bateman, and then traded Kirk for Waller and Kyron Williams, and then picked up Miami's D before you knew about Chin. Chubb.
That's fine.
Yeah, I still think you're all right, bro. You still got a great nucleus, so you're fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Bateman wasn't giving you anything right now.
Dillon was a decent buy low.
Herbert and Carter, you'd rather have them right now, but could be better days for Bateman. Dillon.
Right, but like you have 3 wide receiver ones. Like, you're okay.
You're all right.
Kirk for Waller and Kyron Williams. That might hurt a little bit, but also Kyron Williams is like the most intriguing running back stash right now because what the hell is going on
about him? Yeah, he was supposed to be in this.
Hell?
He is in the thumbnail. He's right there.
Okay, there you go. But like, what is going on with the Ronnie Rivers? No disrespect.
No, if you feel like you self-sabotaged, trade Waller right now for whatever you can get. Upgrade. Keep Kyron Williams. You made that deal. You drop Bateman. Can't look back. You traded for Dillon. Can't look back. Look forward. Trade Waller for whatever you can get, and keep it moving with the nucleus you have. You'll be fine.
Yep. Yeah, you're all right.
And sideline star, I didn't.
Where's that happening?
I didn't know that was a problem.
Oh, I see what you say. In like the bottom left, I see it. Yep, it's cut off. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, that's actually from Zoom. It's supposed to pop up on Streamlabs itself. It's not doing it. I'll take a look. But thanks for letting us know. Claypool would have been fun in Green Bay, but also they have basically Claypool and Christian Watson. Now, Claypool is a more proven Christian Watson, but basically, they're the same type of guy. Super athletic, large, outside clashers who they're forcing to play in the slot. DJ Moore is younger than Velus Jones. Yeah, that shit is crazy. I'm younger than Velus Jones.
Chase Claypool is a year younger than Velus Jones.
Yeah.
DJ Moore is younger than like everybody. And I think Amari Cooper is younger than all of them. That's a joke. That's a running joke on Twitter that like Amari Cooper is still only like 23 years old.
And Patrick, your current squad is all right. You got Donta Foreman. You're not hurting.
Yeah, you're good.
You got Kareem Hunt. You're not hurting. You got Damian Harris. Yeah, you're not hurting at all. You're fine. You're fine. Mike, glad we could help, and I'm glad CMC saved you this past week. Lex, would y'all drop Kareem Hunt or Deontay Johnson in an 8-team PPR league? No, not if I didn't absolutely need to.
Yeah, no. I mean, I know. Look, there's a talent squeeze in shallower leagues, right? But like again, you got who are you picking up in their place?
Right.
Like a George Pickens that he like I guess but like I'd rather just give me Deontay. You know, Kareem Hunt, like I don't know, Foreman might still be out there in an 8-man league. I guess maybe that, but like again, these are the tough decisions that have to be made in shallower leagues. There's no no matter what, there's going to be good talent on the wire. It's just you're going to have to navigate that. But those are really good names that I don't want to give up.
Yeah.
Especially Deontay. You spent at least, at worst, a 5th-round pick on him. Maybe 6th or 7th because it's 8-man, but you know.
Tim, I would, I think I'd rather have Curtis Samuel rest of season.
The fact that they're both, again, if Myers is available, it might be a shallower league. Yeah, there's going to be talent available. It makes it harder to figure out, like, who do you hang on to? But Samuel has been rock solid. They both have been, I guess, but like, it's
he just
tough.
has that extra versatility.
He can get in the backfield too.
Joe, how do you guys feel about Likely? He is not somebody that I would ever have advocated starting at all this year.
Here we are.
But I mean, we are here. If there's no Mark Andrews, then I'm fine with playing Likely. If Mark Andrews is playing at all, he's not a stream for me, even without Bateman. But if Andrews is not playing, Likely can give you a top 10 week. That's it, though. That's my cutoff. Would rather have Schultz and Everett. And I'd rather start Schultz and Everett.
Yeah. I think so. Especially Schultz with Dak back.
I don't know what Rodgers prefers, D-Lenny. What they should do is throw Christian Watson out there with a jersey that says ayahuasca on the back and see what happens.
I mean, with Watson, I think the problem is he's a high ceiling project right now. He's not. They're giving him a bunch of like easy stuff at the line of scrimmage because he doesn't. I don't think he can do the route tree right now.
No.
He's still learning, and again, I'm not trying to poo-poo on him. It's just they drafted him high because of his potential, not because of what he can do right now. So Rodgers can prefer him all he wants. I don't think he's ready to contribute at the level that they need him to contribute at. And that's not Watson's fault. That's the Packers' fault. Failing to have guys who are ready to contribute for a team that is supposed to be built to win now.
Yeah, he honestly was not a second-round prospect. He blew up after the combine because he was 6'4" or whatever, and 6'5", and ran a 4.4. So people got googly-eyed. He was supposed to be a 3rd or 4th round pick. He was supposed to be drafted around where Dubs was drafted. But I agree with everything you said. Green Bay might force it to him rest of the season. Doesn't help him or Green Bay.
Yeah.
Mike, Herbert, CMC, Fournette, Pittman, Gabe Davis, Kirk, Tyler Boyd, Pickens, Eno Benjamin, Connor, Brian Robinson, Dak, 3-5 record. That sucks. Where do you upgrade?
Wide receiver. Again, it's hard to it's hard to do this like with a limited amount of time and other questions to get to. Because I'm just say right now, if but it's wide receiver.
Pittman with Ellinger rest of season is not a start that I like, so I'm fine. If you want to package Pittman and Pickens and upgrade, go for it. I like Gabe Davis. I like Christian Kirk as 3 and 4 options. If you can package Tyler Boyd with one of them to upgrade to a wide receiver 1 option, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
I would just try to upgrade your starters, specifically wide receiver.
Yep.
Consolidate those wide receivers, man.
Yep.
And yeah, we agree, D. Lenny. Lex, Khalil Herbert, or Brian Robinson at the flex in PPR. I'm going Khalil Herbert. I just think he has higher upside.
Excuse me. Yeah, agreed. Robinson has like no upside. Herbert at least does. And the Bears are playing the Dolphins. It's like, let's put it. Herbert gets in the game when the Bears are trailing. The Bears are playing the Dolphins this week. The Dolphins have an electric offense. Herbert should be seeing plenty of snaps in a game where the Bears are probably going to have to keep pace.
Yep.
And they just traded like the only couple of good defensive players that they have, so all the more.
And
reason.
Lex, you need to drop Hunter Deontay to pick up a defense. I guess that's because you're in an 8-man league.
Yeah. If you regularly have, can you just, if it's like the Dallas defense, you don't want to drop them. If it's the Denver defense, you can drop them. They just traded their best player. I don't know. It depends on your defense. If you were like, I'm riding with the Broncos, you can stop riding with them.
But if you have to choose between Hunt and Deontay, Hunt
is
he does have
the Dallas defense.
Like I think it's Hunt. I don't want to drop the running back, but Deontay just got an uptick in targets most likely. Claypool is getting around 7 to 8 targets a game. Hunt, his situation doesn't change, and he has 2 games at above 10 points on the year. And hasn't gone above 10 points since week 5. And then week 9, he's on a bye. So I think you can drop Hunt.
Yeah, all right.
And then hopefully turn around and pick him right back up. Normally I wouldn't advocate that, but you're in an 8-man league, so you should be all right.
Yeah, probably should be fine with whoever your other running backs are.
Patrick, what are your thoughts on Edmonds? And with Bateman out, does Deshaun Jackson become a thing again? No. Jamarcus Robinson does, weirdly enough. But thoughts on Edmonds? I'm staying away from that entire backfield. Very close to no upside.
That Denver backfield is puke city.
Yeah.
I don't know who to try. Gordon Sal had a floor play day because he scored a touchdown. I think Latavius Murray also did get a touchdown. I think was the better play and has been for the past couple of weeks. Edmonds has done nothing in Miami, but now he's there. I guess he's going to play on third down. They still have who's that third guy that they had? Not Mike Boone, but they had another dude. Marlon Mack. Well, okay, fine. He's maybe not in the picture, but still, that is like the grossest. That is the grossest backfield in the NFL, hands down. And I want nothing to do with it. Also, by the way, D. Linney, appreciate seeing you in here as always.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate it.
Yep. And yeah, I like that Herbert stats you just posted.
There you go.
Yep. Last question here. It looks like Blurpy. Your team is Hurts, Cook, Kamara, ETN, Antonio Gibson, Foreman, Pacheco, Pittman, Terry, Lockett, D-Hop, Amon-Ra, Wandale, Waller, and Taysom Hill. You were just offered Terry, Lockett, and Foreman for Derrick Henry. Should you do it?
No. Yeah. what you were. Oh, you were not. You would be getting Derrick Henry for those pieces. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I mean,
that's way too much.
I'm trying to package Waller and Wan'Dale. Like Wan'Dale right now, he's probably not going to play for you ever, but he's a hot name based off of how many times he's been brought up in live streams the past 2 weeks. Package him and Waller, and try to just get an upgrade somewhere else. Maybe see if you can get an upgrade at tight end. So you don't have to play Taysom Hill, even though Taysom Hill has had decent starts this year too. If you can package Wan'Dale and Foreman for an upgrade, like, I don't know, something like that. But I wouldn't do that trade. And Alex Watts, thoughts on the Miami backfield rest of season? Question marks, man. I want both of them if I can get both of them.
Yeah, Mostert. I think I prefer Mostert, I guess, just because he's been there. But Wilson muddies these waters. He's playing. Prior to the CMC trade, good. Wilson had been playing very well.
Better than Mostert?
I would have to take a look at it.
I think he's been playing better than Mostert. Yeah. But he has more hurdles to clear. So there is that as well. Patrick, should you drop Edmonds for Deontay? Yes.
Deontay, yes. Holy hell. Yes. Deontay should not be available.
And I'd rather have Pacheco than Edmonds. And Blurpy, you can play those 4 running backs because you run 4 flexes or 2 flexes. Cook, Kamara, ETN, and Foreman. And then you have Gibson and Pacheco on your bench. But you got 2 flexes. Yeah, I'm still not doing that.
Still not doing the trade. Nah, you're giving up way too much.
Yeah.
I know it's Derrick Henry, right? But like,
no, I mean, Terry's just starting to do good. Lockett's been a good wide receiver. And, I mean, let's be real. Pittman is probably your wide receiver 5 right now. I'd rather have Amon-Ra, D-Hop, Terry, and Lockett in my lineup, all else equal, than Pittman right now. So I'm just staying with my squad. Looks good right now. I'm not moving off of my squad. I don't think you need to make any changes. You might have the best running back core in the league, but then what else do you have? You might start losing games because you're not strong elsewhere. But we have gotten to the end of the chat here. Thanks everybody for chilling. If you are at all interested in becoming a member, it's the second link in the description. If you are at all interested in becoming a member of the Discord, third link in the description. But yeah, thank you for everybody chilling in the chat. Again, Durko, if you're in here, sorry you keep having issues.
Yeah.
But
sorry that you're having issues.
Nick will be back with his box score Wednesdays tomorrow for the members. I'll be back Thursday for the members, and we'll be back together on Saturday, 6 p.m. EST.
Saturday for our week 9 start sit help. Lots of bye weeks this week, so probably lots of start sit questions to navigate. Always good to join us on Saturday and Sundays after the week has transpired, and practice reports and all that good stuff, vibes and all of that. So yeah, be sure to tune in. Are there follow-ups for Blurpy? I would say Blurpy. I would just in general. That's the 3-for-1 is way too much. That's a hard no for me. Rock with what you got.
Yeah.
And as always, just one more final shout out. If you like what you see from this channel, first link in the description. Give you details about membership opportunities and options. Let us know if you have any questions there. And if you want to keep the conversation going, third link in the description of all of our videos is our Discord. That is an evergreen invite.
I just said that. But
sorry.
Word. Dope.
Making sure everybody really
there we go. Thanks for chilling, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Have a good night, everybody.